Oh man, how you been?
I've been extraordinarily well.
Doing good?
uh, better than I deserve.
Really? What's happening, man? What's the goods? Tell me, fill me in here.
I just seem to be winning all these races lately.
Yeah, what is up with this? So you like were you not winning before and now all of a sudden you start winning or what or like are you just hitting a groove? Like what's the past and what's happening now?
Well, this drag stuff, is all new to most of us, and some of the guys got it figured out quicker than others, and
Yeah, yeah.
have spent a lot more time doing it. And I think I finally stumbled onto some things that are working, and it's the car just goes straight every time now. And
Uh-oh.
oh
Some
yeah.
tricks? Oh, dude, so
Yeah.
if you give up your secrets, man, and everybody starts using it or copying it, then what?
Then I have to find new tricks.
Name of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's definitely the name of the game. Man, I'm excited. I got my car built. It's right next to me here. I'm looking at it. It's pretty dialed. It's kind of like a hodgepodge. I don't really know what all else to do yet, but once I kind of get dig into this thing, yeah, we'll take a close up look at your car, what the progress you've made, the changes you've made from the box stock short course style kit style, and then the upgrades. And it doesn't look like you have a lot of upgrades.
No, no, you'll be surprised how stock it is. Even the shocks and everything are all right out of the box.
Yeah, see, I put buggy shocks on, and now I'm having like troubles with like up travel, down travel, and like all these other things. So I definitely have to play around with the configurations of shocks.
Yeah,
Maybe you use like the truck front shock body and the buggy shaft, or some combination to kind of set it right. Because you can change with like the front shock towers to a shorter tower, or you can run the stock short course tower. And like, there's a lot of different options to play with, which is kind of fun. It brings back just that the hobby side of stuff. You build something, you try it, you see how it fits, and then you go out and you run it, and then you come back and you try to make improvements. And maybe the body mounting system's not like dialed in yet. The wheelie bars maybe not dialed in yet. You're making small adjustments, and that's really fun, I think.
yeah, part of the fun of this for me especially is the amount of tinkering.
Yeah.
I'm a tinkerer, and I love playing with stuff, and this is perfect for that because that's where you find that extra tenth, or uh, you know, it's just it's all about tinkering. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, it's sweet. So far, I've kind of just started my build here. I got the wheels and tires glued up earlier today. Super stoked, got that thing on, and yeah, it's mounted up. It's rocking and rolling. I don't have my electrics in it yet, but just having something together, and then I get to try to test fit the body and figure out how that fits on, and get the spacing right and get the arches and the wheel wells right, and all those kind of things. Trying to dial it in, making it look cool before it hits the track, or I guess it makes its first pass. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. But before we jump into more about this drag racing stuff, let's talk about the big news today. We had the new 8XT drop today, and I actually saw a lot of people posting last night, like right before bed, and I'm like, oh geez, I hope this isn't a mistake. I was like,
Hey,
oh man, I hope they didn't like accidentally post something and then now it's getting shared around before it was supposed to. I was like, oh, I hope this is a legit like debut kind of release. So the next morning I woke up and it's everywhere. I see a lot of positive reactions. I see a lot of people really surprised that it's both truggies in one.
that is very, very cool. And I don't think there was any secret behind the X8T or the
No.
8XT, because Ryan actually gave it up a few weeks ago.
Yeah, if you're paying attention, some things, some information slip, but if you don't watch everything, it's hard to kind of catch those little details. But yeah, so the big news, which was really hard for me to keep under wraps, which I thought was just phenomenal, is the packaging. It's the same price. It's $700 as basically all the current truggies, and then you get the ability to either choose doing a nitro truggy or an e-truggy. So all in one kit and basically the same price. So people were asking like the whole time we're doing these shows, like, hey, what about an e-truggy? Hey, what about e-truggy? And I was, I had to keep it really tight on that secret. Because I knew that it was a 2-in-1, and I was like, oh man, this is going to change the game a little bit here because one, we don't have to have another truggy release or 2 truggy releases, an update to the e-truggy and an update to the nitro truggy. Now it's just one, and and with stock and carrying inventory for hobby shops and for us, we just have one kit now to carry versus 2 kits. We might have the nitro truggy out of stock and then the e-truggy in stock, but now it's just like if the truck's in stock, it's in stock. You get to pick how you want to configure it. So I think there's a lot of benefits to that. And I think a lot of people, the average racer, club racer, I think with nitro being so seasonal in so many areas, like up in the northern side of the United States, it's very seasonal, summertime, and then you bag it in the winter. But now you can kind of convert your nitro truggy into an e-truggy and go run somewhere indoors for the winter, and then you have some fun, and it doesn't really cost you to have 2 trucks. You know what I mean? Like you just convert it over. All right, it's winter time. My track's gonna run some electric 8 scale, and I get to go play with this thing. So it's kind of nice, I think, and I think people are really gonna enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah, that totally caught me off guard when I saw that. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's kind of a first, I think. I mean, I'm sure it's the 2-in-1s it has been done in the past, and when we did it with the 22 being a rear motor or mid motor, 2-in-1. But I don't know if there has ever been a release where it's a 2-in-1, a nitro and e-truggy at this level. So it's different, and I think it's going to be pretty awesome, actually. So I can't wait till people get the nitro truggy, the e-truggy in their hands, because it's such an improvement over the old truck. And coming from Dakota, his feedback on it so far, it's been phenomenal. It's much like the 22 X4 when he first got his hands on that. It just had a lot of pace right away, and the truggy, same thing now. DNC TQ finished second, PNB TQ finished first. So he has that kind of performance out of the gate right away. So it's really good to see. And oh, there we go. So we got a lot of people already saying hi, saying what's up. So yeah, I think that new truggy, man, is going to be awesome. So what a new release for us. A year. It's been such a good year so far. Elite 8 scale, 22 X4, and now the Nitro 8 XT and XE truggy. So it's a phenomenal year of new cars for TLR, and I'm excited, man. It's gonna be awesome. In a month's time, we'll get to see these guys, the local scene, get their hands on this thing and start to have some fun. So I'm excited for that. You're gonna get one?
Truggy? I don't know. I got my hands in so many different things right now that the truggy would just I think that'd be over the top.
It's a lot, man. I know. It took me a lot just to get into 8 scale. Like I finally got my buggy, I got my engine ordered. Getting all the little pieces together. So it will be some 8 scale for me in the near future here. So let's go through and say hi for the people that are joining us today for the intro to no prep drag racing, man. I've been wanting to do something like this for a while, just because J Concepts was really early into this in terms of making street eliminator drag bodies. So I kind of was around it, but didn't really have, I was so busy, didn't really have the time to really get into it and develop my own car and kind of start playing around with that. So now here, I was like, well, you know what? It would be kind of cool. We've been doing the intro to 8 scale, the intro to 10 scale. We did the intro to engines with Adam Drake, and now we're doing an intro to drag racing with Colin Branch, who just won a huge race in the Northwest, man. So I can't wait to talk about that. It's going to be awesome. I want to hear the details and what that race really means in the Northwest. But first, let's say hi to everybody, and we'll start off with an introduction with Colin Branch. If you guys don't know who Colin is, he'll give a little background about who he is and how he came about to join TLR in the recent days. So Tom Bolger, what's going on, man? Good to see you online. Always thanks for checking out the show and the positivity, man. He's joined the team this year. He's been hitting the track a lot. I've seen a lot of activity from Tom. Great to see him do so well. Nico, what's going on, little man? Hope you're doing well, buddy. Good to see you on the show. We've also got Chris, a regular as well. Chris, what's going on? Matt Paulins, what's happening, Matt? Good to see you. Join us for some drag racing. Nitro Freak in the house. What's up, y'all? What's going on, Nitro Freak? Colin, is there a place for Nitro drag racing?
I can see it. I can see it happening.
I mean, right?
Sure. I mean, it wouldn't be new. The RC drag racing's been around for a while, and there's been some Nitro stuff. And I wasn't involved in any kind of drag racing until this no prep thing came around in the RC world. Full size drag racing I've done, but in the RC world, I haven't done any drag racing up until 2 or 3 months ago, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all kind of new since this no prep scene just exploded.
Yeah, it's going, man. It's been exciting to see a lot of people really getting involved. It's something to do. You know, some of the benefits that you can do with no prep is basically you don't really need a track per se. You don't need an outdoor track or an indoor track. You can kind of just use some asphalt, set up some timing loops, some lights, and you're ready to race. You know, the setup to get a race going is very easy. The space is very minimal. You can do it outdoors. So in terms of like COVID times, you know, no prep is perfect. You know, scaling, crawling, that's perfect. You can do it outdoors, small groups, have some fun RCing and enjoying the outdoors as well at the same time. So no prep, man. There's some benefits to how easy it is or how accessible it is to actually participate. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's say hi to Ray Melendez. What's going on, Ray? We got Teddy Page. Look at that. I'll send you a smoking setup, man. There you go, dude. Already, people already helping out, getting their hands in there and getting their hands dirty, helping me out, trying to get my stuff super fast here. We've also got Jose. What's going on, Jose? We've got Mike. What's happening? Good evening to you, sir. Got Rick. What's happening, Rick? Look at that. Switched over to the low C side. I get to take my freshly tuned new ceramic bearings, LCD driveline, titanium turnbuckles, 22X4 to the carpet track for the first run. I'm coming from the B64 after I'll be doing some drag racing for the rest of the night. There you go, dude. Get some that 22X4 on the track. It's going to be phenomenal. I've heard so many people with such positive feedback with the 22X4, and it's the same story. You know, this thing carries amazing corner speed and is easy to drive. So, Colin, when are you gonna get your 22X4 on the track, bud?
Oh man, I've been pressured by all the other team guys here locally that get the four wheel. So,
yeah,
but I mean, when I'm at the track, I'm so busy already, and I run. Because I'm old, I get to run the 40 plus class. So I typically run two wheel buggy and 40 and over two wheel mod. So 2 classes with 1 car, and then all my other duties while I'm at the track. I always like helping other people and getting other people rolling, get going fast. So I'm usually pretty busy. So adding a 3rd class for me at a club race is probably a stretch, but
you're on what I call the light Paul Cicarillo schedule.
Oh, we have the same haircut.
The light Paul, because the reason why I say light, because Paul would run 5 or 5 classes, all the 40 plus the regular, so he's in heavy. So you're on the light Paul Cicarillo schedule.
Right, yeah. For sure.
Yeah, Paul's a good guy. All right, Mike C. Truck was a beast at DNC. Saw it with my own eyes, man. He was had a ton of speed, and it was his first race out with it. Obviously, some tweaking to do with setup, some more time with it, and he was able to kind of win pretty dominantly at the PNB after some changes. So If you guys didn't catch the live show with Ryan Dunford, he just did one talking about all the new stuff about the 8X. So if you guys are done and want to watch some more video stuff, go ahead or click back tomorrow. Check out the live video with Ryan Dunford. He talks all about the new 8XT, man. It's something I'm going to have to catch up on and familiarize myself with all the new tech and stuff too. So it's good to see. There we go. Nitro Freak just ordered my Truggy X today. It knew it was going to be awesome, but shocked to note that it went on the Horizon site to see you could run it both ways. Definitely a game changer. There you go. I think it's for a lot of people. And I told the team, all the team drivers at P&B, I'm like, hey, don't tell anyone that it's a two-in-one. Don't tell anybody that it's also an e-truggy. Just let them find out when the release drops, because I think people are going to be shocked. Like Nitro Freak, he was shocked, man. Like a lot of people were probably like, oh, snap, it's both. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So there we go. All in one was a great move. Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, Thomas constantly talking. Last week, or actually when I had Adam Drake on, I was listening.
Yeah, I did the same thing when I had him on my podcast.
I had zero talking. I was like, one question and then like silent. Then one question, silent. Yeah, I was just listening to all the knowledge that he had, man. But this show, there'll be a lot of me talking, that's for sure. Colton, what's going on? Can't wait to get it. Yep, 8XT on the way. Couple days, I think. Dan Filbert, what's going on? Dan, good to see you online. Brian Hodge, there we go. Brian Hodge online. Dale Best, what's going on, Dale? Man, we've got a lot of people joining us here, saying hi, dropping in. Glenn O'Connor, what's going on? Travis Kendall, your guy right there. Travis Kendall. If you guys don't know, Travis Kendall and Colin have a podcast. Tell them about the podcast a little bit right there.
We do a podcast called Track Walk RC Podcast, and we're based up here in the Northwest. So we try to keep it mostly focused on the Northwest racing scene, but we sometimes get into other things. We did a review of the PNB on our last 2 episodes ago, and we've had some interviews with Drake and various people within the industry and that sort of thing. But we try to keep it primarily Northwest focused, but it'd be a good listen. I think everybody would enjoy it.
Yeah, check it out if you guys have time. Get some more podcast in. Track Walk is what it's called. Mike Zippy.
We've even had Thomas on.
Yeah, actually was on it. That's how me and Colin actually kind of got hooked back up and started talking again. And next thing you know, he's wearing a TLR shirt. So yeah, things happen for a reason. I think Colin and I were supposed to have that conversation, and we were supposed to partner up and work together. I strongly feel that, and I think Colin, along with Luke, those two guys in the Northwest are going to be a huge influence, I believe, in years to come. So I'm expecting great things from the Northwest from you guys. And Colton, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. We've got Mitchell watching the show. What's going on, Mitchell? Hope you're doing well. Jason Westfall, man, good job out there at the Snap Hard race. I saw that. Okay. And all right, so that's about the highs. Let's get to know a little bit about Colin, my guest this week. Doing all kinds of racing. I've known Colin for probably 20 plus years, in and out of just the race scene in the Northwest. I've always heard great things about Colin. We would race once in a while together at the same races. We knew the same people. We're at the same events in the Northwest, having a great time, and our paths really finally crossed just recently, and been able to catch up and talk about ideas and talk about things that we want to do in the RC industry, and hopefully we can bring on some positive change and add to the fun factor to all this stuff, and just make it more enjoyable for everybody. And Colin's on board, and Colin, let's give a quick intro about yourself to everybody.
Well, I'm Colin Branch. I've been racing for over 35 years, off and on. I grew up in Canada, raced a little bit up there, and then moved down to California and Arizona and raced a bunch there. And I moved to Portland, and now I'm living in Seattle. So, and I've raced just about everything: 10th scale, 8th scale, on road, off road, and
On road, off road, 12 skill, 10 skill, 8 skill, carpet, dirt, oval, just everything, you know.
put a controller in my hand. I'll race it.
Yeah, it has to have wheels though, right? Like you don't race planes, you don't race quads.
I'm not against it.
Yeah, I'm
But
not either. Yeah, I'm not either. But when something has wheels and has power and you can jump it, oh man, that right there's got me. You know what I mean? Like I don't think about planes and all those other things. If you got power, if you got wheels and you can jump stuff, man, that's it. I'm in. You know, I'm sold. I'm gonna be playing with whatever that thing is. You know, so RC cars. That's I found it when I found RC cars when I was little, and I was in, man, from the very beginning. So a long time racer. Let's talk about some of the I don't know, your best racing memory, man.
Best racing memory. Wow. I'd have to dig deep. Racing at DNC at the Fear Farm, not Fear Farm,
Ooh.
Nitro Pit back in the day.
Oh, the Nitro Pit, not the Fear Farm.
Pit.
Oh.
Yeah, that was good times. And I would race at the Nitro Pit for their weekly races because I lived in Tucson.
Oh.
So it was like 2-hour drive, and in the summer we'd have to start racing after dark. So we'd have the lights on and everything, and we wouldn't get done until like 3 o'clock in the morning. And by the time I got home, the sun was starting to come up because it was so hot. But that was always a good time. I raced. I think one of my most favorite races that I've been to, and it was just kind of recently, it was the RCGP.
Yeah, tell us about the RCGP. They just released a trailer, and it looks pretty cool. The production level on that thing. I really wish they had something like that when they presented it at the Ifmore World's RCGP meeting. It was in Australia, and they didn't have anything, and they could have whipped something together using other races and kind of mocked up something. And I think if they would have showed something like that or something, just a taste of what they were trying to get us involved in, I think a lot of us would have been, let's do this, let's try this. But it being harder when you're asked to invest a lot of money and invest into a World Series, sending 2 guys to around the world to go racing is not cheap in any way, shape, or form. So
yeah, it's kind of like what comes first, the chicken or the egg. They had to have a season before they had the footage to put out. So I don't know, but the race was as good as the footage. The production level of the race and everything was as good as the footage showed on that first video.
Yeah, it was. Where was it again? In California?
Thunder Alley.
Thunder Alley. Yeah. But did you like the track?
Oh my gosh, it was insane. It was probably the most difficult track I've ever raced on.
How'd you do? How was the weekend?
I was kind of in the middle.
In the middle, having a great time.
My goal was the top 50%, and I met my goal just barely. But
oh, good. There you go. There, yeah, man. DNC, RCGP, those big races are easily, they just stand out. Like when you look back at your racing history and memories, like those big races, they stand out because they're just nothing really around any that's like it. The racing, the atmosphere, it's just a different level. And if you're a true racing fan, that's where you kind of get the most from racing, experiencing those type of races.
Yeah, and it's not even just the racing on the track, it's the people you meet and just hanging out in the pits with all the other racers and that sort of thing, and the atmosphere is just awesome. So it's a good time right from the time you get to the track to the time you get home. So
okay, so let's move into a little bit about drag racing. Do you know the history of drag racing? Where it all started from, where it got popular, the RC drag racing scene. Do you have any info of the history? I know that you mentioned Tim Smith, and it seems like he's one of the godfathers of drag racing.
Yes, yes, he is. And I'm not sure when, but I remember buying RC car action magazines when they first came out. When I got in the hobby, there was no RC car magazines at all. But when they first started coming out, they did have some drag racing stuff in it. And a lot of it was like quarter scale, this sort of thing. The cars look real, you know, with the real rubber tires, with the logos on the tires and that sort of thing. And so drag racing's been around quite a long time.
Yeah.
And I think over the years it evolved into a lot of like pan cars and single cell and foam tires and the
like
cars are
solid axles.
Yeah, and they ran on prepared tracks.
Okay, so
really smooth.
So is that what it means when they talk about no prep?
Yes, no prep is zero preparation on the track. You can do it in a parking lot, on an abandoned street, something like that, where there's nothing being sprayed on the surface. You know, all you're doing is sweeping or blowing it off. That is it.
That's it.
Yeah, the grip is way lower.
Okay, so do you get to use sauce or anything on the tires for in no prep? Do people, is this like off-road where you saucing and burning, is that become a thing?
Well, we're in a transition period.
Oh no, it's already inhibited it, huh? It's already crossed over.
It sort of, you know, it's kind of like there's a rule where when you show up to tech before you run your run, your tires can't be wet or sticky. And what they'll do is they'll have a piece of Lexan down and they'll set your car on it. And if it picks up the piece of Lexan, or if your tires are wet, or if you're leaving a mark on the asphalt, then you're obviously doing something.
What do they do? Will they make you wipe it off?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen anybody violate that yet.
Really? Not yet? Oh man, I thought that would be like long gone history. Like people would have violated that.
Yeah, it's some of the bigger races maybe, but not up here.
Okay, good. I like the fact that that you don't get to use any of that stuff. You know, that you don't get to play around with these secret sauces and secret combinations, you know, because you know, at the end of the day, let's just go race, right? Just throw down your car, throw down my car. If we both don't do any weird secret saucing, then it's kind of fair, right? And then just race it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that people are doing, like cleaning your tires with Simple Green. You know that from the off-road days.
Yeah.
Road stuff, how that works.
That's not allowed?
It's allowed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as your tires won't pick up that piece of Lexan, or if they're not sticky to the feel, then you're okay.
Okay.
And then there's people that are starting to use tire warmers, but on certain kinds of tires. The belted tires require a lot more heat to work. But
the belted tires, it's because they don't expand. They have a different kind of contact patch or different.
Yes. Yeah. With the speeds that we're spinning these tires, if they're not belted, they grow a lot, and it causes your car to do really weird stuff at the top end of the track. And also the back end of the car will lift up as they grow, meaning your wheelie bar isn't on the ground anymore, which means your car is gonna do this and can flip over, you know.
Gotcha.
So that's my experience with tires, and I've just recently gone to the belted tires, and all of a sudden I'm starting to win. So
so all of a sudden you're like not fifth, and you're like, oh, that's what I had to do is just buy belted tires, and away we go.
That was it.
Oh man, funny. Okay, so let's tell everybody how you came about to come aboard TLR. Because it's recent. It's kind of something new, and it's something we've been talking about and been discussing. You know, and having ideas that are kind of on the same page as each other.
Right. It's I've been involved with other teams, and I was the regional team manager for Serpent up until what is it, a couple months ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And it as a kid growing up, all through my RC career, if you want to call it a career, but my RC history, there's been two teams where it's a big honor to be a part of, and obviously that's TLR, Team
Yep.
OC, and Associated. And Thomas contacted me, and we talked about it, and we both have the same vision for helping grow the team and grow the hobby itself. So, we both we clicked, and
Yeah, there's a strong bond between me and Colin in the fact that we both, I think, not only do we want good stuff for the team, but we want good things to happen to the hobby, and finding ways to expose it, ways to grow it, ways to get more information out there, to add people to the community, and just start on the ground level be able to reach and grow RC racing, or just any kind of RC, not just off-road racing or 8 scale, but if it's no prep drag racing, or if it's crawling, or if it's just bashing in your backyard, like, as long as you got a radio in your hand and you're enjoying the hobby, man, I'm super stoked. And hopefully I can assist anyone that wants to venture further into that. It's something that I really enjoyed doing as a kid, and I know that for me, it kept me focused. It kept me out of trouble. It kept me, like, um, goal oriented. Like, I wanted to get better at this, so I was, using my time instead of doing mischievous or, bad things. I was trying to figure out how to get faster, racing my car, and was spending time trying to cultivate that. So I know how important it is to have a hobby that positively affects you. And and with RCs, it's a lifelong hobby. One of those things that you can do. You can be in and out of RC forever. And you come back and try a different portion. I have a lot of friends that, they'll get into it heavy, do it for a while, and then they'll sell their stuff. But it doesn't mean that they're gone forever. A year later, like, hey, what should I get? And I'm like, hey, you're coming back? It's like, yeah, I just want to play with some of the new stuff, and then they'll get all new stuff, and then enjoy it for a while, and then life goes on. They get involved in something else. So it's something you can do forever and enjoy. And I think it's just something, just tremendous that we can enjoy something like RC cars and be so simple, meet new friends, and just kind of affect your world.
yeah, it's being around it basically my whole life.
Yeah.
I've got friends all over the world, and most of my contacts every day are RC people, and it's like a big family.
Mm-hmm.
We're all family, and that's kind of how I treat it. So I love it. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun, and so I would love to nothing more to be able to spread that and share that with other people and get them involved. If they stay, they stay. If they decide that's not for me, I'm not. This is not really up my alley. That's okay too. At least they tried it and they gave it a go versus just never really trying it. So some people will stick and some people won't.
That's
Some
right.
people, this is for certain people, and for some, sometimes it's ball sports or board sports for others. So uh, yeah, it's just one of those things. So let's talk about the next topic that I have written down here, which is um, so we talked about the history.
Well,
Uh,
let's talk about the history of the no prep a little bit.
yeah, let's do that.
Now, I'm fairly new to no prep,
Yep.
but I followed it for a while, and I kind of know how it got started. Um, I believe it was Tim Smith and a group of people came up with the idea. They've raced the prepared track, dedicated drag tracks with super sticky, super fast, and most of them are one cell cars. I think is what they did, but it kind of comes back to what we were just talking about, where trying to get new people in, that was really not easy for new people to get into.
Right.
So I think they came up with this idea, let's convert a short course truck into a drag car, put a really cool body on it, because most of them look very realistic, and that's a big appeal to a lot of people. And then let's put rubber tires on it and run it on a track that's not prepared to make it more even. So the rubber tires combined with the prepared track kind of levels the playing field a lot, because grip is everything. So you know, you're not really buying horsepower, you're not buying wins per se. You still have to figure out your car and get it to go, and all this stuff, and it looks real, and people can get into it very, very easily, as we've seen with the ready to run kits that have come out recently.
Right. Yep.
And with more to come, I hear.
More to come. More to come. One of the cool things I really like about this no prep drag racing thing is the fact that anybody can do this, right? So
Yes.
I always talk about when you hand somebody a radio that's never driven a car and you ask them to take some laps around an off-road track, it's very hard to do. They probably won't do a clean lap their first battery. They'll crash, they'll spin out, they'll go the wrong way, turn. It's hard to do one clean lap for somebody new. But you give them a radio and ask them to drag race, it's like, what do I do? Just okay. So the green light, just pull the trigger. Yep. Do a little steering if your car is kind of veering, and you're good to go. It's like, okay. And then they get a stage up, the green light drops, and they pull the trigger, and they can figure it out in a couple passes, and then they can start racing everybody. And I think that's what's really kind of magical about the no prep drag racing. Not only we get to play with RC cars, we also get to participate no matter if you're a true beginner or not. Like I said, you hand somebody a radio and tell them to do a lap on an off-road track that's never done it. Not happening. Just that the skill level that requires to be a novice even in off-road racing is actually quite high.
It's very high.
Whereas this, the idea is to go down the line as fast as you can, and that's really it. But not easy.
No, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's just going in a straight line." It's really easy. You just put more power in it and go straight. Well, it's easy when the car is an appropriate speed for your skill level. Getting to that next step, it's walking up those stairs and getting faster and faster, and it's a combination of chassis tuning, tire tuning, motor tuning, all that kind of stuff, and it all adds up. It looks easy, and it's easy for people to get into, but it's also easy to see your progression as you get better at it. And even the most experienced hobbyist can enjoy it, because to go as fast as the fastest guys are going is not easy.
I mean, at the top level, no matter what it is, it's hard. Yeah. If you want to compete at the top of whatever, even like, just sewing or knitting or anything, to be that good at something, it's not easy. It takes years and years of experience, a ton of experience. So so even with drag racing, even though it might look easy, these guys pull the trigger, the cars go super straight, they're hooked up, and they're just zooming down, they win a race. It's like, oh, that looks easy. But it's not really that easy, is it?
No, it really isn't. But the satisfaction of when your car goes as fast as you want it to, and it goes straight, and you beat that guy beside you, the satisfaction's still the same as if you win an off-road race or an on-road race or anything like that, because it takes effort on the mechanical side and the driving side to get that right. But anybody can get in. We're seeing guys that run that have, you know, just kind of gotten into RC in the last couple of years, and they're
Yep.
kind of working up through novice and up through 21.5 in the off-road side of it, and they're doing the drag racing, and they're competitive with us sometimes.
Wow.
They're competitive. Yeah, there's, you know, and it's brought a different group of people into racing with the fast guys. They're always going to be fast no matter what they do, but it's interesting. People that can understand the chassis setup and this sort of thing are able to compete at a higher level than they would be at, you know, spending the same amount of time doing off-road.
You probably have to spend a lot more time at off-road.
That's
I spent years,
yeah.
I spent years practicing at my local track, like probably 2 years, probably 3-4 times a week. You know, I was heavy, and
That's right.
you know, but that's where my knowledge and my setup skills came from, was spending that time playing with my cars and testing, and just endless amounts of testing, man. You know, so I through that process I learned a lot about chassis and setup, and you know, what to change. And but I had to put in that time to get there. You know, it wasn't just something all of a sudden I was good and I was talented and I could go fast. It was a lot of time spent at the track practicing and figuring out my car and my setup and what I liked. You know, so and not everybody drives the same. You know, I can't really drive a Dakota setup, and he probably wouldn't like my setup. Because I want a car that's a little more grippy and does a lot for me. And then he likes a car that's just quick, quick acting and just nimble. So, and he just hangs on. So we're looking for two different things. And if I put on his setup, my car will be very twitchy. And then he puts my setup on him. For him, he would be like it's too stuck. You know, so different driving styles. So playing with the cars and being able to tweak your car and get the most out of it for your driving, you know, that's part of the secrets right there.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
But you were at a race, so let's before this no prep drag race. Let's go check this out here. I actually got it on um, getting it ready here, a Chrome tab. All right, can everybody see that? Can you see this?
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So Colin, you are the person on the closer side to us.
Correct.
And so set the stage for us. What is this race here? What are you racing right now? What's this body? Like, set the stage.
So this was last night. We have a weekly list race, kind of like what you see on Street Outlaws on the TV show, where they have a list of top 10 drivers.
Okay.
And so what we do every Wednesday night is we have, you know, the top 10 come out, or whoever can come out. Most of the time, the top 10 are pretty dedicated and they're there. And then anybody else who wants to come out and challenge number 10 on the list, they have to run through a bracket. You know,
Okay.
they'll race, and the winner of that bracket, of all the guys that aren't on the list, gets to challenge number 10 on the list. So at that point, they could race all the way up to number 1 if they wanted to, but you have to do it one at a time.
Okay.
So I've been on the list since we started the list racing. I've kind of gone up and down a little bit here and there, but I think this week I started at 6 or 7. I had a couple bad weeks, so I dropped a few spots, but
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to race through, was it six of the top guys, 6 of our top guys last night. And I kind of went into it thinking, you know, my car's working pretty good. I might get a couple spots tonight.
Yeah.
And it just kind of every single race that I got to, I would started winning. It was on a roll. It's like, you know, you're in Vegas and you're gambling. It's like, oh yeah, we got to keep going.
Yeah. I'm hot, baby. Give it me dice.
And what we do when you're racing a top 10 guy for on the list, like, and we only race for list positions on Wednesday nights.
Okay.
So what we do is best 2 out of 3, and then you move up to the next spot, whoever wins it.
All right, dude. Okay, let's go. Let's watch this. Let's watch this race. I'm ready for this, man. Are you guys ready?
This is the final. This is the
This
last
is the
race of the night.
final.
This was for
And
everything.
so what's on the line right now?
Number 1 spot on the list.
So in this crew, you be the fastest dude.
That's what number 1 usually is.
All right, here we go. So let's see Colin earn his stripes here. And what is the car that you got here?
That is my
Wild Side.
That's Wild Side.
Got to name the car.
We name our cars in drag racing. Yeah.
Just like monster trucks, got to name the car.
That's a 22 SCT 3.0.
Yep.
With a Proline Super J body and Proline tires with McLaren horsepower.
Here we go. For the number 1 spot. You guys ready to watch this? Let's watch it like we were live. Can you hear it?
Not really.
Woo! Dang. So that was it, dude. So were you nervous before you going into this?
Not really, because I wasn't expecting anything out of it. I thought that was the end of the line, because that's Brett Wilson in the far lane, and he was number 1 from last week, and his car's fast.
Okay, so tell us how this is working. What are you waiting for? Is there a light on this box in the middle between?
Yeah, we have a lighting system with lasers. So we stage into the lights, and it tells us we're staged. And this is something that one of our local club members built.
Wow, sweet.
Yeah, and we've gone through several iterations of it, where now it's just a like, once you're staged, everybody knows you're ready, and then randomly the green lights will come on. And it's not something where you can time. You have to actually react to the lights. And if you break the beam before it turns green, you've red lighted.
Okay.
And you're done. You've lost. So
you're instantly disqualified. There's no restart.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, penalty is high for a false start, baby.
Instant loss. So we're both reacting to the light.
Oh man, I could see myself false starting quite a bit, just because I'll be like so pumped to go.
I won't say I haven't red lit before.
So here we go. All right, so when you're going down the line here, when you start out, are you feathering this thing, or are you just punched and letting the slipper do the work?
Well, there's different philosophies on doing that. Some people will ride the slipper. Other people will drive it. There's some people that are setting up multiple profiles in their radios, throttle profiles, and they just have to manually hit a button, and it kind of shifts from like 50% throttle to 70% to 90 to 100 or whatever, however many they're doing. In my car, we've got some software we're developing which does it all on its own. So before the race, I have to preset how much throttle position I want for each stage, and for how long until it shifts to the next stage. So I am just pulling the trigger.
Oh wow! So you've preset everything then?
Yeah, just like the full size guys do. They leave at 100% throttle, and they let their turbo controllers and all their computers
adjust everything else.
Give them as much power as they dialed in, and we're developing the same thing for our speed controls.
Oh man, dang, getting pretty sophisticated, man. Whew. Dang. All right, so that was Colin's race last night. I saw that thing posted. I'm like, dude, sweet, man, nice win, and sporting the new ride. So yeah, so that's Colin right there. We got him with the #1 car right now in the Northwest in his series that he's participating in. Doing it with a very basic SCT 3.0. You know, there's not much hop ups. He just kind of modified the front body mount, modified the rear body mount, and he did a custom wheelie bar. But everything else, you said the shocks are stock, the towers are stock, the basically everything else.
That's all stock for now. My next project is to start losing weight,
Okay.
and not me, the
Losing.
car.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just gonna make a quick, snappy joke right there, but you blocked me from actually making a joke, so
I
it's
knew it
okay.
was coming.
I so yeah, let's check out your car, and then
So
we'll check out my car, and we'll look at the difference here. So
it's very, very basic. It's stock shocks, front and rear, which are quite long for this kind of
yep,
application. But you can see in the front, I've got some fuel tubing on the shafts to limit up travel.
up travel blocks.
Yeah, yeah, and you'll learn that you don't really want your car to dive when you hit the brakes. Basically, because you want to set your body as low as you can.
It'll drag if you dive it in.
And, right, and if you hit the brakes and there's down travel, it'll drag the body. So
Just like
it
on
kind of
road, man.
yeah, it kind of sits ride height with right on the
Oh.
thing in the front.
Do you really want a lot of front suspension travel, suspension movement?
I think down travel is important.
Just interesting.
Down travel is important because when your front end comes up, and it has to be even. And just like on road, you want your down travel to be perfectly even because it will cause the car to launch funny if it's not. I like to have some down travel so that when it's riding on the wheelie bar, I can still steer most of the time.
Okay.
There's different philosophies there too. Some people like to ride the wheelie, all the way down.
Yeah, I've seen that.
For me, this is working where I can drive the car without setting the front end down too hard.
Okay, let's look at some of the changes in terms of like your body mounts. Like, what did you do to adapt body mounts and be able to run different types of bodies here?
Sure. So this is just some spare carbon fiber I had laying around, a couple pieces of aluminum that I had laying around.
just just
Both,
just happen to be laying around, so I'll just use this, and it works pretty dang good. Yeah, look at
yeah,
that thing.
yeah, I have a bunch of stuff laying around. I'm always making stuff and dremeling, and so I made a
This is
little
the hobby
bracket
side.
here. Yeah, I love
Yep,
tinkering.
yep.
And then the front end is the stock.
So you
Where are we?
actually used the stock front bumper.
I do because I wanted the mounts out as far as possible. Because when you get
Is that
downforce on the body, you don't want it folding down. So I moved the body mounts out as far as I could by using the stock mounts.
gotcha, that makes sense.
I just had to make a little bracket on top and make my own little posts, and it works just fine.
Yeah, that thing looks pretty nice. And then what else did you change over to make it so did you start with the short course and then convert that way?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Okay.
bought the short course kit, and then I got the 5.0, where are we? 5.0 arms,
Yep.
turnbuckles,
Yep.
and the rear axles. Where are we?
Yep.
This is everything's backwards when I'm on this camera. So the rear drive shafts that
Yep.
will get you to the proper width.
Yeah. It's
And
it's honestly not a lot of parts, man.
no.
I ended up so I went the same route. We were out of SCT chassis, so instead of converting a buggy, I ended up just getting the short course and then converting the short course into the drag car. You know, there both ways you go, there'll be kind of one major expense if you go from a short course to the buggy or to the drag car. You'll have to, if you want, you would have to buy buggy shocks and towers, but Colin was able to do it without the shocks, runs the stock shocks, so that will save you quite a bit of money. So that basically you only have to really buy the front and rear arms and the dog bones, and figure out a body mounting system, and basically, oh, and the turnbuckles, and basically you've got yourself a drag car.
Yeah, I did change the rear springs.
Okay. Yep. Buggy
To
springs.
buggy front springs to get the
Yep.
ride height, and because buggy front springs are stiffer than rear springs,
Yep.
that helps as well. And then your wheelie bar, of course, which I made
So
myself.
from carbon fiber laying around.
Yep.
Yeah. So, so the Wheelie Bar is is there a there seems to be different styles. Some of them are really long, some are really short. Is there a regulation for Wheelie Bar lengths?
Um, it's kind of a gray area right now. I think they're saying 8 inches from the back of the body
Oh, okay.
is, if that rule hasn't gone into effect, I think it's probably going to before too long.
Hmm.
So, which is still a gray area because everybody's different. So I don't know how that's going to work out, but I don't make the rules. So
Yeah.
um,
That seems like the rules are still kind of getting um finalized. You know, it seems like to be ever changing and
well,
adjusting.
every group that runs all around the country, they kind of follow the one kind of basic set of rules, but they're able to adapt them to their own group if they
Okay.
need to.
Kind of like roar races, like they have roar sanctioned rules, but they don't
Yeah,
really follow everything. They pick and choose certain rules.
yeah, they kind of follow the NPRC, no prep race cars, or no prep something. It's NPRC,
Yeah,
and so they've got over 60 chapters throughout the country, something
that's
like that.
crazy.
It is
Yeah,
crazy how it's blown up. It's huge, but yeah, they've got it's kind of, they're trying to keep the rules simple, not make it too complicated,
yeah.
but still keep things under control. So
Yeah, so here we go. Chris Gilliand. The scene has just exploded. We started Drag Club Chicagoland at NPRC, and we even used the tracks as DTS timing system. So much fun. So there is definitely a lot of crossover. What I've been seeing is a lot of people in the race scene, if their local tracks are not really open fully, or if there's they have to wear masks and they can only let a certain amount of people in at a time, maybe you don't really want to feel like going down there. So what I've seen is a lot of people are trying to figure out what else they can do with RC, and this is one of the biggest options out there is to get a no prep drag car and start playing around with your buddies and figuring out who the fastest one is and have some fun doing it like kind of locally where you don't need to go to a track or anything.
right, yeah, yeah, and they've got some big races going on around the country here and there, but
It's starting
uh,
to shape up, man. Some big money races. It seems like a lot of guys that like the kind of like gambling aspect of and the wagering aspect of life. They fall right into this category. There's a lot of
yeah,
side bets going on. There's money races happening all over the U.S. now. It's starting to get a lot more popular. There's a couple races where there's $1,000 plus pot for the winner.
there was a race last weekend in Oklahoma, and I think the winner went home with $2,800.
$2,800 for a weekend just racing your toy car, man. Like that's not a bad that's not a bad way to end a weekend. Is crowned being the fastest person at the track and pocketing $2,800. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, and you're not there for 18 hours a day either.
So at one of these bigger events made of Vegas or whatever, how long are these events? Because off-road 10 scale, off-road 8 scale, they're basically all day.
Yeah, these you can run through a cash days or a list race, within a couple of hours if you want to go back to back. But normally they're a little relaxed, and they'll give people time to charge and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
a big race, I think last weekend in Oklahoma, they had, what was it? It was 40 something, maybe 50, somewhere around there, entries. And I think they were done in 2 or 3 hours, probably 3 hours, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
If only off-road was so simple, right? If only we could get done like a qualifying 3 rounds. We can get done in 5 hours. That would be so amazing. But
Yeah.
it's like three times that amount of time. But yeah. So let's check out my car. I did a little no prep thingy over here. So oh boy. Um. So all brand new. Built it up just yesterday, today. Pretty basic. So this is the stock body mount here. It's just I put the body. I have the Fox body, Mustang body by J Concepts. I put it over, and it actually all I have to do is raise these up and mark them, and then the body will fit fine. So the stock body mount system will work, but the only downside is that it is flimsy, like Colin said. It's definitely designed for short course, so that body can rock around and be more forgiving, so the bodies will last longer. So this will work temporarily for now for me, because I didn't have to buy anything. It was just already there. And so the front one just bolts onto the front shock tower here. And then I'm running buggy front shocks, which are kind of a little too short. I don't have enough down travel. So I'm thinking maybe playing around with either a buggy front tire with the buggy front shocks, or maybe trying the truck front shock bodies with the buggy shafts, so that they have it has less up travel but more down travel, so it can reach a little bit more. But other than that, like Colin said, you got to have the turnbuckle. So I went the short course route and just flopped everything in. This is as cheap as you could convert a car. I think I had the shocks laying around because they're the older shocks, and then the turnbuckles are the ones off of my buggy. When I replaced my buggy ones with the HD titanium ones, I had an extra set. So buggy turnbuckles already there, didn't have to get any of that. So had just arms, a drive shaft in the back, and then that's real, and turnbuckles I had laying around, shocks I had laying around. So that's basically it. And pretty simple. I didn't do too much, didn't go heavy. Now I just got to mount my electronics and then figure out, do a couple passes and try to dial it in. The kit comes with a ball diff. I don't know if a gear diff would be better. Something you'll have to play and try and figure out, like what fluids or how thick or this and that. But right now the ball diff's in the car. Buggy shocks on this thing with the buggy rear tower, so I have less travel. Don't know if you can really.
I think you're going to want a gear diff.
Yeah, so a ball diff definitely won't last in this thing, just because how much power you're running. So pretty simple setup to get going. Took me just a few hours while I was trying to finish work and build that thing at the same time. Wasn't too bad. I got it together, put some hours into it, and built it. Like I said, I was kind of answering emails and doing some work while I was trying to get this thing done. And yeah, it turned out pretty good. Very simple to do. So like I said, if you have a short course laying around, you can convert a short course into a no prep drag car very easily. A lot of it's just arms. Sometimes the shocks, you got to figure a way to mount the body, and then turnbuckles and rear CVA, and that's about it. It's pretty it. That's it. Like I think my total for the plastic parts and the bones was like $30. And like I said, I already had the turnbuckles laying around. I had the shocks laying around. So the most expensive components, if you have them laying around, you can make them work. You can even make the stock shocks work. So many ways to go about it. The idea is to have the length of the short course and the width of a buggy, and then that pretty much puts you in the ballpark to have a no prep drag racing car. So yeah, I'm stoked, man. This thing turned out really well. It looks really good. You've done awesome with yours. What are some of the secrets that you found? Like you said, you recommended getting a gear diff in there. That's definitely something that I was just going to put in so I didn't have to rebuild ball diffs all the time. Just the cost of redoing ball diffs, just to keep this thing going, it might be a little bit too much. So a gear diff keeps the cost down. It'll stay more consistent, and it probably will handle the power a lot better.
Yeah, when I ordered all my stuff, I ordered the gear diff, but they didn't have the aluminum one or anything in stock, so I've got just the plastic one in it. I was expecting it to maybe not last, but it works just fine.
Okay.
I haven't had any problems. I've got hundreds of passes on it, and it's fine. So, um, little tips and tricks.
Yeah, man. Let's give us some of the secrets that you've found so far in your adventures of drag racing so that we can get up to speed. Obviously, the body mount system is kind of important. You want a
It
body, like
is.
you said, very secure. And the way to get it secure is to have kind of a wider, more coverage area from front to rear and side to side.
Right. Yeah. The aerodynamics at the speeds these cars are going are very important.
Mm,
So, you'll want to, build a wing on the back or buy a wing. There's companies that sell wings for just about every body. Um, and I think the biggest tip that I have is if you're just coming into it, start slow and work up to the speed, because you're going to encounter some things that your car does that is kind of weird once you reach certain speeds. So,
mm.
um, you'll
So I
want
should I should I shouldn't I should return my 3.0 and go with like a 6.5 or something.
to. There's some fast guys with 6.5s out there. So
Oh, really? So that's not like awkward.
no, 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 no. You'd be surprised how fast a 6.5 can go,
Okay.
for sure, if you know what you're
Alright.
doing with motors, gearing, batteries, that sort of thing. But
Yeah, I
no,
don't
my
have any idea. I'm learning. I'm excited. I'm ready. So let the learning begin. But yeah, so gearing obviously has to be very important, right? To get the most power, to get it to be tame at the bottom, but super fast at the top. Combine that with electronics, like adjusting your speedos, man, you can really fine tune the power delivery of these things.
yes, yeah, it's crazy how much you can do, and I've seen two trains of thought on the gearing. Some people will gear to use the torque of the motor, so they'll end up only running like 30-40,000 RPM, and
Hmm.
they're still fast. And then I see other guys that are running 70-80,000 RPM at the end of the run, and they're super fast.
Hmm.
So I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I think it's more doing what is right for you.
Interesting.
So yeah, I don't know if there's a distinct trend as far as high RPM, low RPM tuning, that sort of thing. I've seen both work fairly well, and I haven't
Yeah.
been down. I haven't been down to see the fast guys in California or Arizona or anything like that yet. But um, from what I've seen, it's kind of a mishmash. Some people. I'm kind of in the middle. My runs last night were 56,000 RPM, I think.
Hmm.
My fast runs. So yeah, I don't know. It's something I need to play with for sure. But
Okay, so we got Teddy Page. So he has good a bit of information right here. TLR Drag Racing Facebook page has a lot of great info, guys. If you haven't joined, you guys should join and share the knowledge. We got to keep these TLR cars on top. So, yeah, there is a TLR Facebook page. I'm actually a part of it. I see all the cars getting put on it. I'm kind of, stealing some ideas or seeing what other people are doing and kind of putting ideas in my head so that maybe there's a direction I want to go down the road. My initial direction was just get a car, get a motor in, get it full electronics, and do a couple passes to see, what it's like first, and keep it cheap. I want to be able to do this and not spend a ton of money and make it really expensive and start to feel like I got to buy all these hop ups just to compete. For me, it's something that's going to be fun and something I enjoy just to kind of be, play around with my buddies. Like I said, I was gonna, get Dakota to make one of his. He's gonna be ordering one of these, and then we get to race each other and have some fun, and talk a little bit of trash to each other, and just enjoy something else besides just race cars on the track. And so I
that's how
thought,
I started out. It was just gonna be for fun out in the yard or whatever.
yeah,
Now look at me. I just can't stop.
yeah, you're going to every race. You're the guy to beat now. So yeah, so if you have more if you want to learn more about this no prep drag racing stuff, definitely check out the TLR Drag Racing Facebook page, especially if you're a TLR driver or a TLR fan of the cars. There's a ton of information, lots of photos to look at, lots of people asking questions. Does this work, or what do you guys do with this? I'm trying to figure out the best way to mount a body. And that's cheap. I don't want a lot of custom carbon fiber, everything, this and that. Like then you're really kind of losing, I think, the entry level or the no prep side of it when you start to really have just a custom full on, purposely built drag car, that kind of goes into maybe a different class perhaps.
Well, I think that's kind of the nice thing about the no prep is there's only one class, and I think there's been various things like short course and this and that have grown in popularity quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've died off. I don't know if it's because they divided into too many classes or what, but having one class is not a bad thing.
No, it isn't. It keeps it simple, and it keeps everybody a part of the group. Everybody's racing everybody instead of splitting off and racing small groups. You're racing just everybody, which I think is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, may the best person win, right? Like why split it up? Let's just battle and see who's the fastest. We all have kind of a similar car, so we'll see, man. It'll be fun. I'm interested in doing this and taking part and trying to get more knowledge on this and be able to build a car that's actually, a competitive car. I don't need to be the fastest. I definitely want to take this avenue as a chance to learn about no prep and be able to help other team members or help guide people in the right direction if they had questions and stuff. So for me, it was just kind of more of a learning experiment to be able to play with RC and be able to, maybe attend a couple of these races and help people out or get people interested and maybe have them try the car out and race with it and see what they think. So
yeah,
things.
One of the biggest things about all this is the scale realism. There's so many different bodies available and there's more coming out. It seems like every day there's new bodies being released.
It's exploded, man. Like
it's
all the
so cool.
There's a lot to select from already, and it's been such a short time since it's hit kind of like that fire button. The no prep stuff. It's just, man, all of a sudden within the last 2 years, all these bodies are coming out, and it's just fun to be able to kind of replicate a real car that we're so familiar with and grew up maybe desiring or wishing that we could have or owned, or just a fan of that body style or that era. You can recreate a lot of stuff. Are you obviously you have an older kind of a classic body on yours? Are you more towards the classic, or are you more towards a modern? Because I'm kind of trying to figure out where what body do I get? What do I name this thing? I got to be legit, right? So you got to name this thing. It has to kind of be inspired. It has to have a look or a theme that kind of makes it fun. And so I had an idea, and let's see how it goes. So I ordered some paint.
I think you should call yours the T-Train.
Watch out for the T-Train. This thing's moving.
My body was basically chosen for the aerodynamics of it. You're going to find that different bodies react differently.
Oh, for sure.
So that was kind of the reason why I went with the body I went with.
Does it have a lot of downforce, or does it have little downforce?
Well, look at the front end on that.
Okay. Pretty slanty.
Yeah. And then the rear deck is really flat. You can see. And then I've built spoilers, side air dams and a little bit of a wicker on
gurney wicker.
Yeah, little wicker there, and it's got flat sides. Flat sides are fast. So yeah, I think it's more classified as a pro mod body.
Oh.
But you know, if you can't beat them, join them at this point.
Interesting.
And
Okay. Yeah.
it's modeled after a Henry J. Studebaker, so it's still got some classic lines to it.
You know, for sure, it does have that classic old school Bel Air Studebaker look. Um, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking maybe doing something a little bit more modern because I got the J Constance Fox body. I've never really been a fan of that body. I never because I grew up in the era of the 5.0 Mustang, the Vanilla Ice era. You
I had
know,
one.
yeah, dude. I mean, I wasn't a fan back then, right? I was like, these things are terrible. And fast forward 30 years, everybody loves Fox bodies. I still think they're terrible, but uh, I got one because I thought it would be cool. I thought, I do like when they're kind of dragged out, like they have that drag look, the front flap, the big rear wing. They do look pretty cool. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, I'll get one of these and see. It's probably not the most aero because it does basically just have a front dam in the front, and the windshield's pretty tall. Isn't it probably isn't the most aero looking body, but I think it'll be fine for what I'm doing. Yeah, so
You're
I'm
gonna
excited.
find you want to get the air going over and around the body and not under it. That is key.
So
Because
we gotta.
you know what short course does when you get air under the body?
Yeah,
These are going even faster. So.
parachutes like crazy. Yeah, once you get air on the body, the thing just backflips, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't want that.
I can't count how many times I've seen cars, cross the finish line upside down and then land back on their wheels again.
Oh, do a perfect backflip and land
Yeah.
and just be like, oh, wow, okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, pretty nuts, pretty cool. Kind of, you take a bad spill, you pretty much hammer your body out, right?
The
I mean, it's
bodies,
sliding
yeah. Yeah.
across. You get some rash. I mean,
Uh-huh. Yeah, depending on how much you crash, just like anything, I guess. But the bodies will take beating for a while until you get the hang of it.
yeah,
You,
that's
part
that's
of
the
part
yeah.
of getting
It'll take a
part
while.
of getting the hang of it is knowing when to let off.
Mm.
Not trying to drive through it and
Just
crash.
back out instead of try to drive through and save it.
Depending on the situation, you're better off to let off and save the car.
Gotcha. Whew, man. Yeah, I've never been the type of person that just abuses their RC car, so I definitely don't. I don't think I want this thing doing backflips. Okay, let's talk about a wheelie bar. A wheelie bar, that's basically you got to have one. If you want to be fast, you
I
got to
mean,
have one.
they have classes. Some places have classes that are no wheelie bar classes.
Oh, there is a
And you
class with no wheelie bar.
certain places will have it. I don't think it's super popular yet, but what that would do actually is kind of levels the playing field
Yeah.
a little bit. But no, you in order to go fast, currently you kind of need a wheelie bar.
Yeah.
You'll realize that depending on your car setup, not all of them, like the rear motor cars more than the mid motor cars will wheelie almost right off the line, and they just ride the wheelie bar all the way down the track.
Oh.
But kind of the way I've got mine set up is it's very, very close to the ground. So when my car leaves the line and squats, the wheelie bar is basically on the ground.
Mm.
Right as soon as I launch. And then it also prevents, like on the top end of the track, you're adding all the boost and timing and all the horsepower. And if that wheelie bar is not down on the ground, you're going to go over backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's definitely not what you want.
been there, done that.
So I mean, these things don't really break though. I mean, you haven't seen too many of these things break, right?
The cars,
Yeah,
not really.
like they don't get
Most
damaged.
of the time,
Yeah,
yeah,
they don't.
they can. They
Okay,
can. If there's stuff for the cars to hit when they fly off the track, but
cartwheeling or something.
normally they'll just flip upside down and slide into
Oh,
whatever. Normally, you'll see one tumble once in a while, but
yeah.
most of the time they end up upside down and start sliding like a turtle.
Gotcha. Turtle power. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely got to figure out a wheelie bar system and how to mount it. And then after that, I think it's kind of just playing around with different settings and making sure how to get it to work properly. So where do you got yours mounted here?
I've got mine kind of, I made it myself, and I've mounted it to the stock rear bumper for the SCT. I think you can see here,
Yep.
it's mounted. And then I mounted some links. Where am I? Everything's backwards. This is hard to do. Some links here, and I've actually got them mounted to the camber link joint, camber link mounting positions. I don't know if you can see. I'm having a hard
Yeah.
underneath the camber link, because you've got the ride height set so low. Where are we? Jesus, it's hard. Set so low that your camber link angle is so weird anyway that raising it up that 6 or 7 millimeters doesn't really matter, because you're not really using a lot of travel anyway.
No,
so.
It's not really turning.
Right. You're not going over jumps, hopefully.
Yeah,
so.
you're not carrying corner speed.
as
so the roll set. So theoretically, you're changing roll centers, but you're not really looking for the car to roll. So I think that you can kind of skip over the functionality of that whole link in terms of what it does for the car when it's rolling, since the car is not really designed to roll, but just move back and forward. I'm sure that doesn't really change too much with the car's geometry.
You actually want your camber to stay as straight as possible. You don't want
camber gain.
Yeah. And then I guess with using this mount, I don't know if you can see, but the stock mount has the sway bar mount built into it. So I'm using the stock sway bar mount for now with the 22 sway bars.
Gotcha.
Sway bar kit mounted up.
Yeah, it looks like we should it'd be perfect if we had a mount that mounted into the back of that, but then hinged it to that bumper. You know where the bumper slides into. There's slots that you slide under and make it kind of compressed against the chassis and that rear suspension mount. That would be perfect if you could have something come out there, and then that way you can bridge it the turnbuckle there instead.
Right. Yeah, I just kind of dealt with what I had. And
so I think there's like 3D printing companies that are you can kind of print that piece, connect it to that rear bumper mount, and then be able to kind of hook up a wheelie bar. So there's definitely ways to do that. And a lot of people are kind of individually doing it. So you can buy shapeways pieces and then bolt it on and get your wheelie bar functional and dialed in. So pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, a lot of those wheelie bar mounts they've all gone to the direction of using a Traxxas style wheelie bar, where it's almost become a universal width, I think it is, so that you've got a variety. You've got so many different kinds of wheelie bars now you can buy from different companies, and they will all fit onto these Traxxas style mounts for each individual car. So it's very interchangeable there as long as you have the right mount.
Gotcha. Yeah. So the mount is really what makes it work. The wheelie bar they're kind of almost in a way a little bit universal, as long as you can fit that wheelie bar system with some sort of adapter mount that goes onto your specific car, and then you can kind of use those specific mounts like a Traxxas or the more popular ones that's out there. So
right.
All right.
They're all different lengths and everything, and adjustability is important.
There we go. There's somebody talking about wheelie bars here. Wheelie bar. Most of them are for looks. They are not at 1 millimeter space yet. What does that mean? 1 millimeter space.
I can't see that. I don't know. What's it say?
Wheelie bar. Most are there for looks. They are not at 1 millimeter space yet.
I would say they're functional. So I don't know what 1 millimeter space means, but we run ours probably 1 or 2 millimeters off the ground, maybe 3.
So the ride height's about 3.
No, the ride height, I think I run my ride height somewhere between 12 and 15.
Oh, dude, pretty tall.
Well, with the short course shocks on it, I can't really get it a whole lot lower.
Wow, that's a lot taller than I would imagined.
Well, that combined with the drive shaft angles, if I get
Mm,
it too much lower, it gets a little crazy. So
really, really angled.
yeah, yeah,
So there's other things that you could do as you get more into this, raise transmissions,
yeah, yeah.
like do a
That's
bunch of different kind of like geometry things that you can kind of home grow do with this thing and play around with it and be able to kind of really start dialing, like you said, the angles. Like I feel like the cars right now, we're taking something that wasn't really meant to be it, but we can convert it and make it that and still have a lot of fun. But they're definitely not purposely built yet, are they?
that's true. That's very
You
true.
know?
Even the ready to run kits are just still converted short course
Yeah,
vehicles.
it's an easy way to get into it and it works.
Yep.
But if you're looking at like if you want the maximum performance, there's a lot of things that are cars the way they're designed for dirt and at certain to be at a certain ride height. These short course trucks, they're riding, 25 mil, 28 mil type of ride height. And then when you bring them down to, 10 mils or whatever, some really super low ride height, a lot of the angles and stuff really, the drive line really wasn't meant to be driven at that height.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that we're doing that are kind of band-aiding it, or just we're using because it works, but it's these cars are yet to be purpose built full on drag cars yet, and I'm sure there'll be a time and a place where there'll be companies releasing kits that are offering more of a high-end purpose-built drag car, especially if this takes off, if the no prep thing gets really popular and it becomes something that has staying power. I have a feeling the other companies will be jumping on board producing something that's a little bit more tailor-made to drag racing.
I mean,
Be interesting.
there's at least one complete car designed specifically for no prep drag racing.
Okay.
That's high end kit that somebody's put out. And then there's dozens and dozens of conversion kits with carbon fiber chassis that you can take your short course parts and bolt on as well. But I just love, part of me is I just love looking at other people's cars and the ingenuity of what people are doing to make the drive line angles correct and get them to do what we're doing with these cars.
All right, I'm just posting up in the channel to take some Q&A questions. Oh man, yeah, there'll be how much is that specific kit, since it's kind of a custom thing? It's not a mass produced thing. Is it pretty expensive right now?
I think that kit that comes, you can order it with or without a wheelie bar. With the wheelie bar, I think is 450, and it's complete shocks, transmission, you name it, body mounts with the wheelie bar for 450, which isn't unreasonable really by the time you add it all up.
No, Wheelie Bar and all that stuff, basically a full-on drag roller ready to go. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
It being kind of a custom one-off low production run type of thing, I thought it might be a little bit higher above 500, just because like when you get into like custom like oval cars, sprint cars and stuff, the kits are actually quite expensive because there's so much custom carbon fiber going on. And then testing and tuning and you're paying for a lot of the engineering and uh, R&D, when you buy those custom things. So 450, not a bad price point for a custom car there. Tony, what's going on, man? He's kind of all over the place, carpet racing, drag racing, any kind of RC type of race you'll see Tony. What's going on, buddy? Hope you're doing good. What about this, dude? Locked diff. Is this something people have started playing with? Just get a locked diff and just go, and hopefully it goes straight and you can hang on.
Yeah, I know that there's people that have run it, and I think it really depends on the track surface as well as your car setup. You could tune your car to it, but it's something worth trying for sure. It's something I've wanted to try just to see what it
Yeah,
actually does for sure.
like put 500K in there and see if it's good or bad. Jonathan, yeah, put some pressure on, get a drag kit out. Unfortunately, I'm not a product development guy, so I can't really. They're already working on stuff, man. They're busy dudes doing their thing. I just kind of take care of the team and things like that. So, but wait for the future because TLR is working on some incredible products, man. They've had this really good flow here at Horizon since I've been joined. Everybody has such great energy. Dunford working hard on his 8X nitro side of stuff. Frank Root's coming out with a lot of cool stuff. He's working on a really, really cool project. Can't say nothing about it, but it'll be something I'm gonna get one for sure, 100%, because I've always wanted one. No one really makes it, so I'm just like, dude, okay, I gotta get this thing when it comes out. But a long ways away because Frank's very early in the product design stage. So anyways, lots of things going on with TLR, man. I've been getting approached by a lot of people with interest to join the team. A lot of positive vibes going out there with what we've got going on. People are excited about the new XT. We are doing a drag car. Can't say much other than that. I have no other information.
You just spilled
besides that. Well, actually, Todd spilled the beans like 2 months ago, so I basically just repeated what he said. So since he said it, I should be good to say it too. But yeah, so that's one of my focus is why I'm kind of building this is to learn more about that, so that we can kind of jump ahead and with me having some information about this, it's going to help basically facilitate that around with the team. If team drivers are looking to get one of these going, instead of doing off-road racing, I could help them kind of get into one of these and build one and talk them along with how to kind of get fast at this really quick. And then hopefully we can get a couple guys crossing over from off-road into drag racing, and hopefully the reverse is get some drag racing guys into off-road, and then we can kind of share and have fun and do like Colin he drives everything, you know what I mean? Why just limit yourself to just one genre of cars, right? All right, so oh man, this thing just dropped down a ton of. Okay, let's see what we got here. So Exotech now sells a Wheelie Bar specifically for the 22 5.0. I haven't tried it yet, but it looks nice. Coming from Luke, our guy. So maybe there's an Exotech Wheelie Bar out there that's pretty dialed in. And yeah, maybe I'll have to take a look, Luke, because I'm looking for one, trying to figure out a way to get a nice Wheelie Bar put on this thing so it actually looks legit and looks mean. But I don't know, man. I kind of, like you said, that it's a little bit more challenging without a Wheelie Bar, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you'll start thinking, what the heck was I thinking? They also make a really easy, convenient carrying handle.
Oh, yeah, you just grab it by the tail.
Yeah. You just grab it by the wheelie bar.
Yeah, so here we go. Larry Morris, did you guys put spacers on your rear upper inner camber link to keep the roll center right? So yeah, let's check it out one more time. Colin has stacked his rear upper camber link.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, it's on another turnbuckle, so it's moved up probably 5-6 mil, however big that ball is in there. It's stacked on top of that, going into one hole, and then yeah. And like you said, the cars, it is a weird camber links position. Typically, if you run the car in off-road, running that high would probably produce the car to do weird things, roll a lot, kind of never settle, never square. But since drag cars, they don't turn, we're not we're not using the roll centers. We're not using it as they're intended. So the cars are only designed to go straight. So when you have it up there, it really doesn't affect the car's cornering, which is what that link actually does. It's affect the cornering, but it does affect how the car squats.
Yeah,
So
you kind of want to eliminate the camber gain as you go through the travel. You want it
yep.
as straight up and down as possible.
Yeah. So anytime you have a short camber link, you'll have a lot of camber gain. Anytime you have so usually the longer link, the more stable the camber is as it travels upward. Just if you think about a small radius versus a long radius, you have a different amount of angle on this outside versus a short one here. So yeah, um, flat tire all the way through the suspension travel. That's the
That's
key.
the goal. More rubber on the ground.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So that's a good question, Larry. Thanks for the question there.
The other
5.7 has rear hubs that will lower your car. Do you know the
yeah,
brand 5.7?
yeah, that's the company that makes the Aero car we were just talking about.
Okay.
They've got these rear hubs with multiple locations. Like I think they have 5 different locations for the hinge pin
So you
to
can
raise it up and down that much.
So there's a trick. Michael from RC Life, he showed me if you use a 22S axle, you can use a VHA hub, and you can use that hub and have the adjustment to raise the hub up and down too. So you have to change the axle out to the 22S short course axle, and then you're able to run the VHA hub so that the pin is retained by the bearing, self-retaining, and then so you don't have to worry about a pin. But I don't know. My question is that configuration better for drag racing? You know, having the suspension joint, the ball joint here. Oh, you can't really even see it, but there's a ball joint here that's sitting in the hub, and when you run the 22S, it sits deeper. So it changes where the pin and the joint is. It brings it out further, so there's less support and more supportive when you change those things. So I don't really know if that hub style is going to be better or not, but
It
the
will make a
function,
big difference. It will make a difference by the way they bind,
yeah,
depending on the angle of it and the width. It changes how much bind is in that CVD or whatever.
yeah.
And that could create grip or take away grip depending on how you
So
what
it
kind of
really depends on so many factors like your tires, right? What
yeah.
compound, um, uh, then it depends on the track surface, if it's a grippy surface or if it's super loose. Um, there's a lot of things that are changing or that affect how much grip you have or how much performance you're gonna have that night.
It all depends. It's even interesting the way when we race at night, as the temperature's dropping, the track changes just like it
Mhm.
does with off road or on road.
Yeah, I bet you during the
Track
during the
changes.
the hot days, like when the sun's ahead, straight above and beating down, you probably get pretty good grip. And then
Depending on the asphalt, every piece of asphalt's different. It's crazy.
and then at night, yeah, you might, when it gets cooler and you're racing towards, the sunset, you might have, a lower track temp and be a lot different from when you qualified or when you started racing during the day.
That's right. I'm gonna order
Here,
up those axles and rear hubs because that sounds interesting. Something I want to try.
Yeah, see, you can even go with at that point, you can even go with the aluminum hub. So,
Yeah.
anyways, Teddy Page, Thomas, and Colin, do you prefer more anti-squat to transfer the power to the tires or less anti-squat to take advantage of the squatting action? I like both different surfaces. Just like to hear your thoughts, man. That's a great question because anti-squat really dictates how much the car puts pressure when you accelerate. It dictates how much pressure is being put onto the tires.
Right. And that's going to be a fine balance because the way I've got my car set up is my car will only squat so far before the wheelie bar touches the ground. So it's kind of a fine balance of it depends on grip, tires, all that kind of stuff, and then how you have your wheelie bar set up and your weight transfer in the car. If you've got a car that wants to ride wheelies all the time, then it's going to be different than somebody that tries to keep the front end down, like me with the wheelie bar really low. But I run like 2.5 anti squat pretty much everywhere. It just works.
In my off-road car, like if the standard toe is an anti-squat is 3 degrees of rear toe and 2 degrees of anti-squat, which is pretty kind of a common industry standard. I always run 2.5 anti-squat and 3 toe or 3.5 toe. That usually that's kind of where I'm at in off-road if I'm on tread. If I'm on carpet, it's a little bit different, but less toe in obviously in the back when you have so much grip. But yeah, I kind of like to run a lot of anti-squat. I just like the rear end a little stiffer, and it's usually because in off-road I like when I'm off power, the car actually slides around, kind of sets the corner up for me a little bit better. When the car has a lot of has less anti-squat, it's kind of a little more grippy and rolly through the turns versus kind of more slidey through the turns off power. So I kind of like that when I'm on the dirt. But in terms of drag racing, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, if the traction is low, you would think you want less anti-squat. If traction's high, you want some more. But then you have a wheelie bar also you kind of have to set so that it engages at the right time so that you carry the speed through as you make it down the track.
I think on a lower grip track, you'd want less anti-squat and then raise your wheelie bar so that you can get a little more squat and get
more angle.
Yeah.
That's a good point there. So lots to play with in drag racing. It's not just throw your car down and light them up. Which is my unfortunately I'm not I don't know much about drag racing, but that was my initial thought is, dude, I'm just going to throw this down and slide them up, but yeah, there's a lot of settings that you get to play with here that's more in depth than I actually imagined it to be. So which is really cool. It's a tinkering kind of class, man. I like that.
Yep. There's a lot of more tinkering than driving.
Larry Moore says, my 4.0 did not like locked diff. So maybe locked diff isn't the way to go.
I think the conditions have to be just right, and your car has to be perfect.
Yeah, it's kind of more of like a prepped surface, and you can maybe get away with rocking a locked diff, yeah?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
But, so what do you have in your diff?
I have 100K in my diff.
With 4 gears, 2 gears?
4 gears.
Okay, so it's thick.
Yeah, it feels pretty thick, but I'm going to try 300K here for next week. It feels pretty thick, but
it looks actually kind of light. Like it looked like it didn't take nothing to spin that thing.
I'm just strong.
My ball diff is dialed, but it's gonna get trashed in like one run.
Just lock it down.
Oh man, I hate doing that. There we go. Tony coming in with some knowledge here. I run both lock diff and 200K. It all depends on the surface. So there you go. A lock diff is potentially fast. I would imagine it would probably be the fastest as long as you had enough traction to give your car the proper amount of acceleration. And obviously the wheelie bar and all those other factors have to, be set perfect to get the most out of a lock diff. So so 200K, 100K, 200K seems to be quite the standard. I mean, these things, like I said, they're not meant to turn. No. They just be thick, and you just try to go straight and put the power down.
Oh, I got another tip for you.
Yeah.
Turn your steering way down.
So, do you run like maximum expo so they have no steering around the center? Or do you just limit how much you steer, like dual rated?
I've got the dual rate turned down, and then the servo speed as well turned down.
Oh, just slow it down. Just make it just
a little bit. Yeah, yeah. But I think I run like 30% dual rate or something.
okay.
So getting turned around at the end of the track, sometimes you have to think about what you're doing.
You gotta set it up, go outside, and then go back inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about like how is it through your weekend? Let's go through a weekend of racing or sorry, a day of racing, a night of racing. What's the progression? So from your first run to your final run, what are you dialing in? What are you looking for to get to be better? Are you looking for more traction? Are you looking for more like are you tuning your ESCs to get more out of it? Like what's the step in terms of how you get into the main and be able to set up for the fastest run that you could possibly have against the fastest guy that's probably going to give you the hardest time?
The short answer is yes. I'll always show up at the track with a softer tune in the car.
Okay.
Not as much timing, and just a little bit of a softer bottom end to try to get some runs in. And I will gradually start working up through practice. Track's kind of open, and you just run practice runs, and I'll gradually work up to where I know where I kind of feel like I want to be, but I'll work up, and then I'll even actually go a little further in practice to see if the track will actually hold it. And then I'll also try a couple different sets of tires just to feel and make sure I'm like, okay, yep, I was right. I got the right tires on.
Okay.
That kind of thing. But it's mainly once your car's set up to go straight, it's mainly adding power and getting the power in as soon as you can, because you can't just add 100% power right off the line. So you got to figure out when and where you can add the power in, and the sooner you can get more power in, the better. The faster you're going to be at the top end. So there's a lot of tuning going on as far as the motors and the ESCs to get that just right to make it fast.
Science. It's like a science. All right, we got a question from approved. Is there an Ifmore 2020? So 2020 was slated to be an Ifmore World's Year for 8 scale, and it was going to be hosted in Brazil. And right now that has been canceled. So there is no Ifmore 2020. What they've decided to do with the Ifmore races is push everything back 1 year. So next year, I believe we'll be going to the Brazil track, and then it starts the year after that will be 10 scale again. So basically everything just got put on pause for a year. We're taking out this year and just deleting it basically, and just pushing everything back 1 full year. To my understanding, I don't. That isn't the latest information, but that's the latest I got, which is probably at least a month old. So yeah, there might be some updates that I don't know about. So another person here, Ray. I love this. I love the fact that they're chiming in and giving us the feedback, and we can go scroll through. So a lot of people, if they don't know the general format of these shows, is we kind of have a talk, and then we open up for a Q&A at the end. So if we're not answering your question in the beginning, we get to the questions at the end, and I'll just scroll through and answer all the questions. So it's kind of a talk show plus a Q&A. Anyways, so Ray Melendez says, no lock diffs for me, too unpredictable when the traction can be an issue. So definitely possible when the traction is high, iffy when the traction is medium, and probably a disaster if the traction is low.
And smooth. It's got to be smooth, I think.
Yeah, because if you have a lock diff and the track surface isn't butter smooth and starts kind of hitting things, you'll probably start kind of directing the car in different directions, and it doesn't go straight ever. So that might be it right there. Aaron wants to know, what size motor does Colin run?
I run a 4.5.
On-road motor.
No, it's specifically built for drag racing.
Oh, because I remember 4.5s were only ran in on-road for a while. I was like, oh man, mod touring, everybody's on a 4.5. Dang.
Yeah, no, we build a specific drag motor with a big heavy rotor, high torque rotor and all that kind of stuff in it.
Okay, so specially modded motor just for drag racing.
Correct. Yeah.
A torquey son of a gun.
Yeah.
Teddy Page, man, you're the man. Thomas, PM me your address, and I'll send you an Exotech bar. So, just don't send me junk mail. I get enough of that in my mailboxes all day long. Dude, every time I check my mailbox, there's probably hundreds that go every day. I'm just like, geez, man, junk mail has just become so bad lately. Oh, dude, RC, I didn't know that you were somewhere at 3 a.m. So thanks for watching the show so late. Sorry you weren't able to get your question in. Not know that you were somewhere around the world, far, far away. There we go. It took me a few times down the track to figure out why my roll center was way off, though. Yeah, once you start turning, you'll notice that the car turns weird when you have that setting. But in a straight line, you're not going to notice it really any difference. Look at this, Ryan Newberry.
Uh-oh.
What is going on, Ryan Newberry, man?
Uh-oh.
Always causing trouble. So Ryan, if you guys don't know who Ryan, he is the Portland Scale Racing. Is he still that? The Portland Scale Model Racing president?
Yeah.
Rose City Modeling,
Yeah,
or I forget what the official name is, but he is the head of the person that organizes the Sven Boehringer Memorial Race, formerly known as the Time Zone Grand Prix. One of my ultimate favorite races to ever attend. Just so much fun. So Ryan is the head of that. It's a special on-road race. It's almost like invite only. It's capped off. If you've been there in the past, you're automatically invited to be there again. So the list stays kind of full. And you can't really attend unless somebody doesn't attend. It's really hard to get into, but it's the funnest race that I get to participate in. And it's not even off-road. It's not 10 scale. It's not 8 scale. It's touring car, man. I drive that thing once a year, but it's so much fun. All right, so VHA hubs and axles adjustability is always good. There you go. So Ryan McLaughlin letting us know that the VHA hubs is good. Yep, there you go. Ray, another person using the VHA hubs carpet position to make the bone angle better. So you must be raising the transmission up somehow to get the bone angle better, because my whole thing is that the transmission is the ball diff is so low. It's almost like we need a mid-mounted ball diff.
Yeah, I'm gonna try raising the transmission here shortly.
Eventually, you got to, right? You got to figure out how to get a little bit more speed and a little better launches, a little more, be able to use more torque. And then if you can, you get faster times. You start beating more people. So this is where the knowledge and the experience, kind of the tinkering, kind of really starts to play out. So Tony has, when you know your tires, you will know what to run on the surface. It changes fast when temps drop or rise. You got to be on it because it will make your car run different. So temperature change, track surface change, all that stuff matters. Just like in off-road, you got to be ahead on the compounds. Luckily, there's only one tread pattern so far. So far, we'll just give it a half a year, and the next thing you know, you have these special treads. You're like, ah. You never know. All right, so Larry Morris, thanks for the input here, man. Great community. You're already building it right here. I love this part. Are you taking anti-squat out if you dang sure need a wheelie bar? I tried it at 0. So there you go. Some info with wheelie bar, no wheelie bar, anti-squat settings. There you go. Larry Moore is happy with 3 and 3. So he likes to run 3 degrees anti-squat, 3 degrees of rear toe. Do you mess around with the rear toe at all, Colin? Do you run 2?
I haven't
2.5?
I haven't tried it, but
so there is still, even though you're the #1 car, you won that big race last night, there's still so much you haven't tried, and potentially speed you haven't unlocked yet, just because you're kind of taking a staged approach. I feel like you got a plan, you want to play with it basic and start to have these different steps so that you can carry that momentum into your race wins. You said your next project now is trying to take weight out of the vehicle so it's lighter weight. Is there a minimum weight right now?
Currently, no, but I think for when they introduce the rules for, I don't know if it'll be next year or later this year, but I think there will be a minimum weight as the
It's
whole
got
thing.
to, I think, I think you
Yeah.
have to, there has to be a number, because eventually, if there's no limit, people will just try, to make the lightest, most fragile, most, grip producing vehicle they can,
Yeah.
and then it becomes something that, other people might not be able to obtain, like a bunch of titanium, a bunch of carbon, a bunch of all this exotic materials to get the car light and durable. And, that's not cheap, man.
No, there's several people that are going down that road. One racer, Mark Vine from Arizona, I believe. He he's got a very light car, and it's very fast. And he uses mostly TLR components on it, as far as the front end, the rear end, and he kind of builds a lot of the stuff himself. But that car is very light and very fast. So
Yeah, so we got Larry Morris saying that he's running a 3-gear transmission with 200K. So it sounds like 200K is pretty common. We've got someone here, Jason Sullivan, 500K. We got Teddy Page saying that he sets the EP at 40%. Got a lot of guys kind of sharing their experience with us, 500K. So it seems like the range is 100K to 500K so far.
yeah, it
Pretty
all
interesting to
depends.
see.
Every gear diff's a little bit different. Every track's different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna.
all the gear diffs, even though when you run a 500K, or say in carpet off-road, you run 10K, um, from one company's oils 10K to another company, it could be some variance. One company's diff, the gears, the size, the volume, the capacity, even the O-rings and how they kind of like rub on the outdrives, the seals, all that stuff kind of adds to the friction. So one company's diff might feel, you put 5K in, say you put the same 5K, TLR 5K into two different companies' diff, they might actually feel a lot different just because of the material that's in there, the O-rings, the components, and it ends up having a different feel or a different viscosity when that all gets put into play. So yeah, but 200K, 500K, when you're in that range, a couple thousand difference isn't really gonna matter, right? 2000K different really ain't gonna matter at 500K.
Sure.
All right. So what is your method for using tow? So like you said, you haven't really messed around with that. Are guys playing around with this and playing around with like 1 degree of tow?
Not locally. Not locally. Our road is kind of bumpy, and we thought it was low grip until we went to a couple other places, and apparently
Oh, yeah.
kind of medium grip. So now that my car is working, it's going straight every time. Now it's time to start playing with some of that kind of stuff. I was struggling for quite a while and figuring out tires and all of that, but now that I think I've got it somewhat figured out, it's time to start playing and making it even faster.
Taking it to the next level. I like it. All right, Peter, what is going on? There is your shout out. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Question from Aaron Harmison. What wheels and tires are you using on your car, Colin? And Thomas, are you on belted tires? So go ahead, Colin.
I run Proline tires. I've got the where are they? Here they are. The Proline drag fronts with the drag front tires, the Hoosiers, and then on the rear I run.
Hoosies.
It's a beadlock short course wheel with the belted reactions.
Belted reactions. All right. So I have J Concepts Hotties and StarTech wheels, and these are in gold compound just because I'm cheap. I didn't want to get greens and just burn them out, and so I wanted to make a couple runs and have something that I could just kind of keep just doing a lot of passes. I'm not really interested in time. I just want to make sure everything's working well, and when I put a wheelie bar on, I want to see play with that. I want to put different body mounts on, stiffen it, and make sure the body's got a secure platform. It's not twisting and bouncing and causing issues to the performance of the car when it's accelerating. Yeah, there's a lot of things I want to play with. But right now I got the golds. It's there's two compounds by J Concepts, a green compound which is softer and a gold compound which is their clay compound. And it's a lot stiffer. It should last a lot longer on asphalt. I could probably run these tires maybe 2 to 3 times longer than I could probably run a green, a super soft. And so, but like I said, it probably has less grip, but I'm not looking for ultimate grip and getting out there just blazing, setting world records. I'm just trying to get out there and do a lot of testing and just playing with the car and figuring it out and trying to get it better so that I can kind of understand how these things work and help other people that might have questions that want to get into this. I can actually be a source of information versus a guy that says, I don't know, I haven't played with one of these yet. So
I think you're going to find that the clay compounds are probably going to be your tire of choice.
Okay, so I got the right tires then. Not
Probably.
too soft. Yeah, especially for summertime. I figured that they would be okay. I was like, okay, there's probably better stuff and there's belted stuff that J Concept has, but let's just get this on the car and just get the car done and put the body on it and get it to that point, and I'll start messing with compounds and tires and belted stuff here and there as we venture forward, and I get some more information on drag racing. But it looks like a lot of fun. I'm super stoked to get this thing together, man. I'm just like, I just look over here, I'm like, God, this thing's gonna be so fast.
And the clay compound tires are the ones that make the smoke.
Whoo! Do I need any vinegar or anything, or?
No, just do a burnout.
The very first thing I'm gonna do when this thing is together, I'm just gonna just light them up and just do a bunch of smoke, dude. I'm just gonna smoke it. That's gonna be my video, and it's gonna be, and then I'm gonna retire right there.
Well, don't let the smoke out of the speed control.
Like I'm like, hey, why is this thing smoking, but it's not coming from the tire? Oh, yeah, that's my motor. Jeez.
I've seen more electronics go up in smoke while doing burnouts than I have actually racing.
It's probably not good for it, man. It probably really, really hard on electronic speed controls trying to force the engine motor to spin over. Larry wants to know, Colin, what is your best time with the 4.5 so far? Just started running a 3.5 with a 13 millimeter rotor. Best so far is 2.6, 57 miles per an hour. No prep. Dang, man, he's throwing some numbers at you.
That's quick. That's really quick. I haven't had it on the clock, but and I didn't even look at last night's to see what kind of time my data logging was telling me, but I think it's about 2.3, somewhere right around 2.30. And last night, the radar gun, they clocked me at 61 miles an hour.
Whoo-wee. So 60 mile an hour is pretty hauling.
Yeah, that's moving pretty good.
All right. So that's like, if you're going to translate this into real cars, would that be like a 10-second barrier? Like, how hard is it to get to the 60 mile an hour mark in a RC drag car?
Well, we're 10th scale, so that's 600 miles an hour.
Yeah, but I mean, like in real racing, if there's a barrier for real drag car racing and they're trying to hit, I don't know what barrier that is for most general people, is 12-second quarter mile. Is that like pretty general? I mean, is a 60-second, like, getting hit in the top speed at 60 seconds or hitting 2.3 seconds, is that like breaking a 10-second barrier thing, a 12-second barrier, a 5-second car? Like,
no.
Where does that range?
If you were looking at a full-size car that does 60 miles an hour in 2.3 seconds, you're probably looking at 11.
Okay.
Between 11 and 12 seconds.
So yeah, because I know like in a real car, how much money it takes, how much horsepower it takes to get a 10-second car. Not easy to do. It takes a lot of money. Takes a lot of turbo or big horsepower. It takes a lot of mapping and all that stuff just to a 12-second car. It seems like you can get you can buy like a Porsche 911 turbo and get a 12-second car pretty easy. but like you go
Actually,
try to go tens.
now
Not
that I was thinking 60-foot times, but no, 60 miles an hour in 2.3 seconds. That's really quick. That's damn quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got to be like the lower barrier.
Yeah, it's got to be tens or nines or tens probably.
Whew, man. All right. It'll be interesting to see how this thing. So 2.3 is your fastest pass.
That's the fastest one I've seen. I didn't look at any of the ones from last night to see what kind of times they were,
Okay.
but I didn't have time. I had to race. I raced like 6 people in a row, 3 races each.
Oh.
So I didn't have time to do anything.
So yeah, say Jason Sullivan, 10K on my carpet car. It's a very standard 10K. You kind of put it in your carpet car. You know, these days, the last time I raced carpet, they were doing two, like in two wheel. They're doing 2 gears with 60K. So that was a beach line, black carpet. So yeah, I mean, things are changing. Like I remember we used to run carpet, and I see setups, and they're like, gear diff 3K, and I'm like, 3K? How are they running 3K? I would diff out everywhere. So because when I started running carpet, we were like instantly we all started at 3 and 5. You know, that's where we saw all the setups. They said 3-5. And if you run on carpet, and, you know, all the Euro guys, they're running on 3K or 5K with 4 gear. And then I was like, dude, my car is not accelerating anywhere and it's super hard to drive. So then I instantly went up to 10K and then it was so much better. Then 15K and it was like better. But there's definitely a limit where the car ends up not steering as much as you like.
It's a balance.
Definitely a balance. And then in the balance, you have your diff oils heating up and cooling. So like when it heats up later on, and you know it starts to slip more. Yeah, it's you got to adjust too, man. There we go. Deco, RC32, hi from Colombia, man. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. There, there we go. All right, so looks like, oh, Randy Locken, 2.2 second is his fast, man.
Man, that's
Dang.
moving.
And Larry Morris too, 2.3 is fast. Wish our asphalt could handle the power I could put to it. Yeah, that's the problem, is being able to put the power down, right? It's not
Yeah.
just having a ton of power. It's being able to be like have the car be able to put the power down so you're not spinning tire, that you're not diverting direction, and be able to power all the way through to the end of the line.
Yeah. Well, you know, when we started racing on this piece of asphalt back when we were just getting rolling, we didn't think that it would handle power either. And we were thinking we got to look for another spot. It's bumpy.
Mm.
It's not going to handle the power we need. And now look at us. We're getting down this strip and we're laying the power down. We've just adapted and made changes and figured out the tires and that sort of thing. So a lot of it is just getting the car set up to go and figuring out how to put the power down.
There we go. So Randy's just putting numbers out. It's not his time. He's just like, oh, 2, 3. Oh, wait, 2, 1. Oh, that's the fastest time I've seen. It's like, well, that doesn't count, Randy. Come on, man. It's the fastest time I've seen. It's like you've seen it, but you didn't do it. Come on. But
Well, the winner of the race in Oklahoma last week, and the Super Chips race, Dibs ran. I think I saw him run a couple 2.16 or something like that, and then I think 74 and 76 miles an hour.
76?
Yeah, crazy speeds.
So you're going, I mean, it must have a slow start and a really high top end, because it was only 0.2 faster, but it was, 15 miles an hour faster at the top speed than your time.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how he's doing it, but he set the bar really high, so we need to start chasing him.
So do you think we'll start to see a no prep drag car go under 2 seconds?
Yes.
Has that already been done? That barrier long gone in the past?
No, I don't think it's been done, or it hasn't been documented if it has. Not that I've seen. I think the 2.0 is possible. We'll probably see it
Pretty s-
within this year.
pretty soon when people
Yeah.
start testing and figuring out more and start doping their tires. Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Randy, it's all about goals. It's good to have goals, man.
That's
You're
right.
definitely right.
Yeah. We're all chasing dibs right now.
There you go. TLRs are going as fast, if not faster, than the Tulsa Winter. I hope so. I hope we can
I
make the
like the
TLR the
sounds of
best
that.
drag car out there. That would be awesome. I think
I love it.
it's having already a pretty good success, right? Like a lot of people that have picked up some no prep drag stuff. There's bases. Their cars are based on some of the cars are based on TLR cars, man.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
cool.
There's some aftermarket chassis and stuff available for the TLRs, and
The Vader, it seems like to be
yeah,
pretty popular one for the TLR.
yeah.
Looks
If they can
cool.
keep them in stock,
Yeah, dude, all carbon looks super cool. I
it looks awesome.
actually I have some insider information. Todd Hodge actually has one of these and a Vader kit. He just hasn't put it together yet.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
so he's
I
he's
see.
he's got the goods, man. So that's I was like, oh, I'm gonna make one too. So
Well, the Vader kit's actually quite interesting, and how we were talking about raising the gearbox.
yeah,
It's adjustable. How you can raise and lower the gearbox on that chassis.
dang, that's what we need, man. Oh, well,
Yeah,
the gearbox doesn't need to be raised. It's just that the diff. If you can make the diff like mount like halfway up, like it basically if the diff almost sat where the either gear is basically be pretty money. But
yeah. It'd be nice if you could have the arms level. The arms and the bones and everything all level at the ride height we need.
see, so maybe if you got high roll center mounts and be able to bring the suspension A arm, the hinge pin point up higher, with higher mounts, and then you can start leveling that out a little bit. But there's lots going on that you got to level if you're going to get into that whole leveling thing. Like I said, these are borrowed platforms. They're taking a short course or a buggy and converting into a drag car. And, it works and it works awesome. We can have a ton of fun, but there are definitely some design changes that need to happen if you're going to make a specific drag car eventually. I think eventually we're at the early stage of the companies getting involved, and I'm sure as if this carries on with popularity, we'll see more companies drop some race cars, I think,
Yeah,
and get a little bit more creative with these platforms and figure out a better wheel.
that's right. Yeah, no, I mean, there's so many different ways of going, and you can see
Yeah,
with all the different chassis and the way people have them set up and
I
building
see
their.
some guys don't even have front shocks. They just got turnbuckles kind of deals. They're just like
Well,
it's just like a straight like front end. There's no suspension.
yeah, the rules do state that they have to have four working shocks,
Okay,
one on
that's
each corner.
good.
So, but like I said earlier, there's different chapters and different groups that are adopting their own rules, and that's fine. That's fine. And whatever they want to do with their group is just fine. But when they get together for the bigger events, then they're probably going to run off NPRC rules. So
Yeah. So, what do you think the difference is between right now mid motor or I guess the lay down and the layback, if that's what we're calling stand up mid motor and lay down mid motor? Is there a benefit right now? Is there more people on the stand up? Like, what's the trend right now?
I'm seeing it split pretty much evenly all the way around,
Oh wow.
and I'm seeing all three. All the different chassis, the transmission layouts working for some people.
Wow. Okay.
So it's really hard to say one's better than the other. I would think on lower grip, the rear motor might be easier to get down the track, but on higher grip, they want to wheelie a lot. So I don't know.
Do you just like just weigh the front down if it wants to wheelie a lot to keep the weight over the nose so the car can keep going forward? Like,
Yeah, some people are adding weight in the front of their cars. That's not unheard of. And then using the wheelie bar and lowering the wheelie bar down, and
Keeping it down.
aerodynamics is huge for keeping the front end down. So there's a lot
No
of things.
doping the tires, bro.
Some
I
people like,
know. I just hope no one starts doping and starts to really mess up that rule. I grew, PRCR. We raced there together. So
yeah,
when I got back in RC, I grew up racing, or I got back into racing. The track was called PRC. Their rule was no saucing, so it was very nice to grow up in or get back into racing where there was no saucing and no playing those games, and we just, just mounted tires and ran and broke them in naturally. Didn't have drills, didn't have anything. We just ran them until they got broken in and saved them, and then started on another set. Did some practice laps and got that a second set ready, and then you're good for the weekend. Didn't have the sauce, and I loved it. And then when I started traveling everywhere else, I started having to learn how to figure out sauce and when the sauce, how much sauce, what kind of sauce, half the tire sauce, just down the middle sauce, or sauce and then just wipe it off. It's like, really, I
light on
don't.
a fire.
Yeah, then diesel fuel, light on fire, spin it around, do all this. It's like, God dang. I just hope and pray and that doesn't get involved into no prep drag racing and people trying to cheat, people trying to push the envelope. It just adds so much more just BS for everybody to deal with just to race together.
Yeah, I really hate to see stuff like that going down that direction, but the problem is regulating it.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody regulating it, and that's super hard. So
there we go. Clean with simple green and go back out there, run your car, not your mouth. That's
yes,
it,
sir.
man. If this is the program, everybody just keep this the program. If you're just going to clean tires, simple green, wipe them down, go race, how nice is that?
That's all I do with my tires is clean them with simple green.
Yep. So, all right, man. I think that is all the questions that I've been able to go through and answer. See, when racing for money, it's gonna happen. It will be tough to control. Yeah, racers ruin racing.
Yeah, we do.
I'm pretty positive that's a true statement.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with stock racing, it gets so technical, it gets so involved that the average Joe, the normal consumer, the avid racer, it's so high above them that they cannot even get to that level anymore because they don't have the time, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the experience. They can no longer feel like it's a fair playing ground for them. When especially people start cheating and start bending rules, start doing all this overcharging and spraying off your battery with motor spray, doing all these weird things to bypass the rules so you can go out there and try to win your stock race or whatever. It's like, God, man, just how about just put your car down, race each other, may the best person win. Like, why all that other stuff? But I don't get it. But it's always been a part of racing. Unfortunately, people want to push the edge. They want to get the advantage over somebody else, and that's just kind of what happens.
Well, that started the second car was built.
All right, so this is funny. Tom Bolger, Thomas, when do I place the bets for the Tran versus Fend drag race? Currently, I'm already winning because Dakota does not even have his kit yet. So my car is already done. I'm going to do some quick testing. He's going to get his little butt whooped if he doesn't start getting his stuff together. So all in fun, though. I'm sure when he gets his stuff good, he isn't going to be slow at this. The kid has ultra reaction time, so I just got to kind of put in my groundwork, my tire work, and I'll just go out there and just outpower him, dude, any day. So when this happens, I'll let you know. Tom will put up I'll do a live video. I'll have Chloe film it. We'll talk trash to each other. We're going to throw down in front of his house. So when I beat him in front of his house, he has to remember that always when he comes home to his house. Oh, dude, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna love it. But he needs to get his car built, and then we can race each other. Yeah. So there's another thing I can always do. I have to approve his order, so I can always never approve it, so he never gets a car. I just automatic win. Uh, but he does have a drag car that I actually brought up from Florida. I kind of started something. It was a 2.0 platform, so it was kind of older stuff, and I had it going. His mom wanted to get in a drag car replica made of the car that she has in real life. So she has a real classic car. I believe it's not the Barracuda, um, the Charger. It's one of the JC bodies, anyways. Um, she has the real car, and she wanted to make an RC a model of it, of her real car. When she's at a show, she can place the RC car right next to her show car, and then they kind of be like an RC car, and she has the real car too. So he has the extra car, so he actually has a car. He just has to like finish putting it together. We'll
So
see what happens.
you just brought up something. You said that it was a bit of an older car, like a 22 2.0 or something like
It's a
that.
22 SCT 2.0.
Okay, well that's kind of the nice thing about this no prep thing is the older stuff is just fine for this as well.
Yeah, so with the old car, so if you have a 22 2.0, you would do the same thing. Change the arms, the turnbuckles. You can probably keep the shocks, the body mounts for the time being, and you just get the rear axle, and then you can convert your 22 SCT. Oh, and a front bumper. You need a buggy front bumper, unless you use and chop up like Colin did on his SCT, modified his front SCT bumper to be out front more and be further into the corners of the body to have better support.
Yep.
The idea is when you're going fast, there's a lot of force, wind moving against the body, the aerodynamics, and then it starts to push the body and get under the body and starts curving it. And when you get air sucked under the car going under and it shoots up and it parachutes the car, basically you'll just instantly backflip.
Yeah, you basically want the body as close to the ground as possible, and then when you get that pressure from the air going over, if it's so
It
low,
stays down.
it can start dragging on the ground. So you move the body mounts out and make them as stiff as possible, out as far towards the four corners as you can. It'll help reduce that, and make the body stiffer.
Yeah, and it basically what you're doing, and when you have a kind of a more rigid body mounting system, you're taking out some of the flex in the body as it's kind of getting pushed by the air, and that flex in the body and the air moving around kind of causes a little bit of instability, I'm guessing. And then the card starts doing weird things like start veering off at the end of the turn, at the end of the run, and things like that. Because once there's certain air getting under the body, it kind of just you've opened the door, and the rest of the run will be terrible. The rest of the run is going to be terrible. You're not going to
It's
recover.
going to be spectacular.
Yeah, so once that happens, so having the body rigid and set right on the car is very important, I think, because it gives you a more stable kind of base for the air to go over, and the downforce to affect the car, so it's more predictable, more stable. If you have a flexi body mount system, the body's always kind of rocking and rolling, and a wind might hit it and it starts tipping, and then yeah, bad things can happen. So body mount, yeah, very important to the aerodynamics of the car.
Correct.
All right, so racers ruin racing. That's definitely not an original line from me. I've heard it for years and years and years. It's something people always say, that racers, because of their competitive aspect and nature, they always want to push everything to the maximum limit and sometimes over. And that's because they're reaching for performance, right? They're trying to get faster, trying to get better, but they're bending rules and sometimes cheating. Not what you want to do. But Newman TV, what's going on, newbie here? Glad for you to join us, no matter how new you are or how experienced you are. You can always add to the community and be a part of it. All right, there we go. That's why NPRC are strict with rules, all voted around the US to prevent cheaters. So if they can do a good job endorsing all the rules, the cheating will be to a minimum, and that's really gonna what I think is gonna help perpetuate the no prep drag racing. Once there's cheating, and you go to the track and like half the guys there are cheating, you just don't go. You just know they're cheating. There's no point for you to go and race. That ends up killing it. People just lose the motivation because, well, they're cheating. Why would I want to go race with cheaters? I'm not going to win against these guys. It's never fair. So then you ruin it. People don't want to participate. And then the cheaters stay, and they always stay cheating, and they're always there. But the new people, they get a taste of that, and they're out, you know. So we definitely want to protect it. I love seeing this new energy in drag racing, and I hope to kind of perpetuate this and carry it into off-road, into on-road, whatever you may drive. It's just if we can help get people into RC, that's the main goal. So, all right. There we go. Colin Branch wants to race me for pinks. Did you just write that? Oh, dude. Pink slips, man. I'm already months behind. You're gonna try to race me for pinks? Oh,
Hit right off the trailer.
taking advantage of the new guy. Another way to kill the hobby right there. Take advantage of the new guy. Doesn't know nothing. I'll just smoke him for his pink slip. He won't even know what's coming. Oh, dude, too funny. All right. So here we go. Larry Morris. I was actually doing better with my 1.0/2.0. Interesting. I wonder why that would be.
Could be some geometry that was a little different. Weight balance is a little different. It's hard to say. Different. The arms of flex a little different.
Yeah.
Could be a number of things.
So what about the DR10? Is this a good base for newbies? Sure, it was designed for new people. It's designed to be an entry-level drag car so that people can get into it cheap, experience it, and figure out if they like it and stay with it, or then at that point they can buy better, more specific race cars. So whatever you want to get, man, get it, get into it, have fun. That's the most important thing. If you're thinking about brands this, brands that, you're kind of losing time getting involved and learning. The brands you can choose. So many of the good race brands these days. All the products are such good products. I'm definitely gonna be saying get the TLR stuff just because I believe it is the best. But everybody has their own opinions. All right. Ray Melendez, how do you feel about team drivers using the Vader chassis? It will be my second drag car. Yeah, it's hard to really say. We don't have a drag specific car. So we can't say that this car really battles us in any way, shape, or form. So I think being proper, you should be able to run it. But of course, what me and Colin have decided to do is not venture down that road just yet. We're going to take the SCT short course platform, the 3.0 here, and see how far we can get with it. So maybe the Vader chassis is probably very cool and very tech and has a lot of features. But I'm pretty sure we can get the base short course 3.0s very competitive. And this way you don't have to actually buy a conversion and just race what you got a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, it was kind of my deal. I just wanted to use as much of the kit stuff as I wanted to and see how it worked. And it's working quite well. So
there we go. Tony is saying that we're also starting a 13.5 class, all blinky mode class to keep scale look types of racing and groups in SoCal's guys just love it. So that's awesome. This is kind of keeping it. There has to be a class that is designed for new people to come into. 13.5 blinky, if that's what it takes to keep these guys at a comfortable, easy driving level where they can compete over and over against each other and not have a frustrating time, maybe that is part of the solution, is to help aid new people into a slower car like a 13.5, maybe 17.5 a little too slow.
If your group's big enough and you've got enough people that it's not watering down the classes, then I say go for it.
Yeah, if you have 40, 50 guys, man, for sure,
Yeah,
start splitting the class up a little bit,
yeah. I
But
would see a club that has like 10 people and then split it in half, kind of thing.
yeah, then you might have, monster, like in the world of monster trucks, each person that races at a monster truck event races like 10 classes.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. We're gonna end the show on this last question. Joshua puts in a very good final question for us to cover here. Joshua Allen Goodlow, how much should I expect to spend just starting middle of the road gear? So let's just start with pricing out a roller. I think you could probably get a roller, especially if you get one used. Um, man, $200, like for a roller. Like you get a
Yeah.
used short course, a gently used short course, just a gently used buggy, and spend a few bucks to convert it. If you go the buggy route, you'll have to get the chassis of a short course and then body mounts mainly. Everything else will work. That's pretty much all you really have to figure out. If you go short course, you'll have to get the A-arms, the turnbuckles, and rear dog bone, front bumper, and that's about it. And like I said, you can make the stock body mounts work. They're not the best thing to hold the body on just because they're very flexible, but you can get an idea of what the car will look like and get the body mounted and have some fun for sure still. But I think if you do it on the cheap, middle of the road gear, including electronics, just a full on RTR ready to go minus a radio, oh man, $400, you could probably get all that stuff, right?
Probably, yeah. Even if you bought a DR10 and then
Yeah,
you had
DR10,
to upgrade
300.
a couple things, and then you'd have to buy a charger and a battery. So you're still looking at about $400.
Yeah, so if you go DR10, the budget entry level, I wouldn't know. I don't know if that's really middle of the road gear. It's entry level gear, but I think you can get that car into the middle of the road gear, and then you'll have to buy. The other thing that you have to buy is, not just getting the car. You actually have to buy the body, which isn't the cheapest thing to ship around because they're quite big. And then you have to buy wheels and tires. So drag wheels and tires and a body, and then the conversion car, the roller, the no prep drag car, and then you're good to go. So if you add in the body, wheels and tires, that's probably $100 in that. So a conversion car, a body, the electronics, and electronics doesn't have to be too anything. You don't have to have the latest and greatest. I'm using an old G1 Hobbywing ESC in this thing, as I have four of those things laying around because I replaced two of them with G2s. So I'm just going to throw in an old speed control, an older servo, and if you can make a car pretty cheap. I'd say under 400, $500, and you can get up and get racing, as long as you have a radio and a charger and stuff. So there you have it. Thanks, man, Colin. I appreciate you coming on, sharing some knowledge, having some fun, talking about a class that really excites me. There's a lot of energy into it, and I've been hovering and learning and watching for the most part, and seeing what's out there. I haven't really bit the bullets and started to get involved and buy the car and play with it myself yet. So this is my first venture. I'm excited for this thing. I'm excited to get to take it somewhere and be able to race it. I was thinking like, at P&B, right? They have the rocket car jump usually. This year didn't have it because of the COVID. They didn't want to gather everybody up on the grass to watch and
Mm-hmm.
and have issues. Obviously that would get a lot of pictures and this and that, and it could get floating around and sending the wrong message to individuals. So they've decided to cancel that thing. But I think it would be awesome if Dave Lycum took one of those long Saturdays and split it off, and we just did secret like drag races. All the pro guys bring a no prep drag car, and we threw down just a quick round robin racing to find out who the fastest person was at that track and the quickest amount of time that we can set it up in, and see who the winner would be. I think that would be a cool sideshow.
That would be fun.
Because that would be a race within a race. The rocket car thing is cool because it's like something you never get to see, but you can't really apply that in any real racing form, or you can't package that to promote it or sell it. It's just cool to watch a car just launch, explode in the air, or explode as it lands. It's definitely fun. Definitely fun. But I also think it'd be cool if Dave had a side race where the pro guys could bring their drag cars with them, throw some side money down or some beer money down,
I'd love
race
that.
you for beers, and then just have a side show and just have fun and everybody have a blast, because we can race each other so quickly. Just set up, line up, go. And then the next person set up, line up, go. And we can find out who wins, who loses. If you win, you stay to the right. If you lose, you go to the left. Start having the losers bracket, have the winner bracket, and then you start racing it out and then see if you can get back from the losers bracket or something. Some sort of format where you can just quickly just get everybody out there drag racing, promote drag racing that way as well, and get some eyes on it, and then be able to get the pros involved and try it themselves. So maybe they get, they express more interest into it. And I think that would be a great way to kind of get that drag racing more exposure, and more with the racing guys, and then be able to cross over some of the racing guys into drag racing. And that would be a pretty kick-ass time. If I'll talk to Dave about it. I got him on text. I could text that guy, so
there you go.
I'll talk to him, and then maybe we can do some sort of thing down the road, and we could have a race. Obviously not in the summer, not in the winter time, because weather permitting. Like AMS is in November, and it's probably not the best place to try drag racing.
The nice thing about the drag racing is you can get it in front of the public too.
Yeah, and it makes sense to them. They can watch and pay attention and be like, "Oh, that dude won. That's awesome." Whereas you watch 10 scale off-road racing after the first lap, like, who's in the lead?
What's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. If you know racing, you know who's in the lead, you know who's winning the race. But for somebody casual just watching after their first lap, no one really knows. I mean,
especially if we're using Ifmore qualifying.
Forget it. People. And if you qualify, like, who's winning this qualifier? No idea. You can't tell by looking on the track. No. You can look at the time sheets, But Colin, man, thank you so much for coming on board and doing this. I know I'm very new to no prep drag racing. I'm the first person that's going to admit that. Not afraid to not know something, but definitely interested in learning and hopefully promoting this and growing this so that it can be something that not only it's good for beginners or anything. It's just another thing that we get to enjoy, man, and get to race and have fun and hang out and carry over the off-road racing where you hang out in the pits and you BS and you have a good time and maybe go for some food afterwards or a drink or something, hanging out. So we get to participate in that with drag racing. We get to have fun, compete. We get to build, play with cars. So I'm all for this stuff, and I look forward to getting deeper involved. I'm not going to go pro like Tony and be at every single big race or go to Vegas for the money race, but I definitely want to learn.
Vegas.
Yeah, there you go. See, some people want to participate in that. I don't really have any interest, like I don't gamble. That's the thing is when I go to Vegas, I don't gamble I don't play cards, don't play roulette, just not a gambling person. So it's like, just not me. But anyways, for those who stayed and watched the shows and have repeatedly watched the shows over the course of the few months that we've been doing this, I really appreciate it. And I want to say thank you for watching and being a part of these shows. It means a lot to us. I hope we can give back some of this knowledge that we have and be able to interact with you guys and be able to facilitate some knowledge, some growth, and hopefully, most importantly, some interest. So Colin, thanks a lot for being my wingman for today. and talking about something that I think is going to be super big, man. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be very, dude. I has a chance to be the the next big racing thing. We don't
Is
really know
yeah.
because we don't in the off road we don't have Vegas money races. We've never
No,
had that.
we
Maybe
should.
one
Yeah.
time. Yeah, maybe one time we had that where they won the prize money was like a dirt bike. I think there was a race back in the day where they handed out,
Manufacturer's Cup.
yeah, handed out huge prizes and it was
Yep.
cool. But so there's something in drag racing that we don't have is this big money race that seems to be very appealing to a lot of people. Um, you know, uh, so let's see where it goes. Let's enable it. Let's grow it. Let's cater to this and promote the racing from all sides. So
That's right.
um, so everybody, thanks again. I appreciate it. We're signing out. It's yeah, next Thursday I have to come up with a even better idea. It's getting harder and harder to come up with good ideas for these videos, but I have one. I have an idea. Still continuing on the learning part of RC. So maybe next week we'll learn something new. So this week, thanks a lot, Colin, and thanks to everybody at
Thank
home.
you, Thomas.
And we'll catch you guys on the flip side. See ya.